The following is a special production of WOBL and WDLW Sports. On Facebook, on YouTube, on air, and online. The Lorain County Sports Network is your home for high school football. Week 4 of the football season brings conference play. Every game counts for or against at least one of your team goals. Good evening, I'm Don Vincent, and this is the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. You know Stewart's, 468 Cleveland Street. Shop smart, shop local, shop Stewart's TV and Appliance. Thanks for joining us. As always, the Lorain County Sports Network is all over the place. 5 games in total. Yep, we're streaming, but we're also the only local radio signals covering high school football. It's good to have you along. Let's take a look at tonight's Lorain County football schedule and set you up for the games you'll hear on the network. Let's start with games outside the 2 big conferences. Lorain is on the road and into the Greater Cleveland Conference in Euclid. The 1-2 Titans have been hit or miss thus far this season. The Panthers are also 1-2, although their games have tended to be a little bit closer. A 2-point loss followed by a 2-point win and a 13-point loss. The long ride doesn't help the Titans. Keep the game close though, and they give themselves a shot. One non-conference game on the agenda tonight is one of our stream games. The 3-0 Vermilion Sailors are hot to start the season. Week 1 was a 1-point win, the other 2 have been blowouts. The Sailors traveled to Elyria to take on the Panthers. Elyria Catholic has struggled, going over the first 3 weeks. Despite the difference in records, this may play out to be a close game. Check this one out on our YouTube stream with Bull Barch and newcomer Will Hicks. Search Lorain County Sports Network. Checking out the Southwestern Conference, this week begins the grind. Amherst opens their remodeled field and finally gets to play at Spitzer Auto World Stadium. The 2-1 Comets host Berea Mid-Park. This one will come down to defense. Who can stop the other? It'll be close, 10 points or less. Staying in the SWC, Avon Lake travels to Midview. The Shoremen are 0-3, but consider who they've played. D1 Strongsville, whose only loss came in OT, perennial powerhouse Lake Catholic, and top-ranked Highland. Don't get caught up in the record. The Middies are 3-0 and have looked pretty good in all 3 games. The Middies seem to be complete. Let's see how they do in conference play. Despite the records, Avon Lake might be favored in a close one. Elyria continues their pursuit of win number 1 in Olmsted Falls against the 2-1 Bulldogs. It's going to be a significant challenge for the Pioneers to find that elusive win. Falls' only loss was to D1 Mentor. Their wins were over Brunswick and Strongsville. This one will likely not be close. The last SWC game of local interest is the one you'll hear on WDLW. I'll be there along with Dave Granczynski. Avon takes a short drive south to North Ridgeville to take on the 3-0 Rangers. Avon finished up their non-conference gauntlet at 2-1. The Rangers are 3-0 with 3 pretty convincing wins. Check this one out on 98.9 FM, 1380 AM, and online at WDLWradio.com. Shifting gears and into the Lorain County League, the only game not on the network is an intriguing one. 2-1 Oberlin is in LaGrange to take on the 1-2 Keystone Wildcats. And yeah, those records are correct. The Phoenix wins have been close, but they're still wins. The Cats' losses have not really been all that close. Despite all of that, history and strength of non-conference schedule favors Keystone. The rest of the LC8 games are on the network. Let's start with our Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook Game of the Week. Richard Flowers and his team will be at Firelands. The Falcons are looking for their first win. Well, so is Brookside. Both teams have given up a ton of points early in the season. Whichever team can find their defense claims their first win of the season. Check out Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook for reports on this one and scoring updates from around the county. Our second stream of the night comes your way from Columbia, and record-wise, it's a good matchup. The 3-0 Raiders host the 2-1 Wellington Dukes. I'm not sure that this one is the blowout that some think it is. I'm counting on a game that isn't decided until the 4th quarter. Dave Rivera and Jared Viancourt will be on the call on the YouTube stream. Don't forget, search Lorain County Sports Network to find this one. Our final game on the network is on WOBL, 107.7 FM, 1320 AM on WOBLradio.com, as well as on the app. 1-2 Black River Pirates visit the 0-3 Clearview Clippers. Gary Tollett will be in Lorain along with Brian DeVito for this one. This may be the best matchup in the conference tonight. I think it's going to be a close one, less than a touchdown difference. So there's your schedule for tonight. The Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show continues with the Buckeye Community Bank Coach's Corner. Today and tomorrow, your partner for growth is Buckeye Community Bank. One more quick review of the games on the Lorain County Sports Network tonight. Lorain County Friday Night Lights on Facebook will be at the Brookside Firelands game. Our YouTube streams will feature Vermilion at Elyria Catholic and Wellington visiting Columbia. On WDLW, we'll be in North Ridgeville. The Rangers will host the Avon Eagles, and on WOBL, Black River will be at Clearview. More pregame is on the way. Thanks for joining us.
Week 4 in the high school football season brings us out to Dan Reeser Stadium in Elyria, where tonight the Elyria Catholic Panthers will play host to the Vermilion Sailors in their 2025 home opener. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to tonight's broadcast. Lorain County's Four Horsemen on the road once again. I'm Andy Bobarch, pleased, honored, and privileged to be joined alongside my comrades, my colleagues, and co-conspirators. El Capitan, the director, the captain of our ship, that's Edwin Vereen. Sam Sovakul is our cameraman, and we've got Will Hicks, honorary Four Horseman, with us. He'll be providing the colorful analysis throughout the evening. Will, great to be joined by you as always, and should be in store for a pretty good one here tonight. The records mean a little something, but I think you can take that with at least a little bit of trepidation going into this game. 3-0 for the visiting Vermilion Sailors, 0-3 for the Elyria Catholic Panthers, playing in their home opener. And obviously, when you play at home for the first time, there's a different kind of energy that comes into the equation.
Absolutely. A lot of energy right now that we're seeing here in the pregame. Fans are actually coming in, packing it in. It's looking pretty good tonight. We might have a great one tonight.
Contrasting styles, and we'll revisit that here in just a little bit. We've got you locked into our pregame show, brought to you by Stewart's TV and Appliance. Shop smart, shop local, shop Stewart's TV and Appliance in Elyria. So much to get to over the next half hour or so before we kick this thing off. We're coming your way from the Green Path CPA Solutions broadcast booth. Not your typical accounting firm. Visit greenpathcpa.com. Well, as you take a look at the conditions here tonight, temperatures in the 70s, should be a really fun one. Weather sometimes can be used as an excuse. There are no excuses when it comes to the field conditions this evening.
Not at all. A lot of sunshine. The field looks beautiful from here. Like I said, we should have a good one tonight.
Should be a great one. Our weather and field conditions brought to you by Lorain County Clerk of Courts Tom Orlando, a proud supporter of high school athletics. Let's get you a quick injury update as well. We did not see one of the key cogs, both offensively and defensively, for Elyria Catholic. Donovan Schumpert was not in pads earlier tonight. That would be a really big miss on both sides of the ball for Elyria Catholic. And we did find out earlier this week that one of the captains for the Vermilion Sailors, Sean Brownell, is out. And he was a two-way player as well. Linebacker is also the starting right guard. He sprained his ankle, so he is out. And those are two pretty big misses. But then again, Will, this is week 4. You expect there are going to be things like that pop up.
Absolutely. It's the next man up mentality. Let's see who fills that void for both sides. Both sides are losing, like you said, key contributors. Big-time playmaker, especially Schumpert. Got a chance to see him last week. He does a lot for EC.
Our injury update brought to you by Elyria Jewelry and Repair, treating customers like family. Just a few moments ago, the captains gathered at the 50-yard line for the coin toss. Captains brought to you by North Coast Insurance Group. See Robert H. Garcia, your local Allstate agent in Avon. The captains on both sides. For Vermilion, Brock Myers, Evan Coons, Sean Brownell, and Chad Ellis. For Elyria Catholic, Trent Merrill, Amari Lind, Joey Schill, Connor Lattee, and Zion Castillo. Our officials for tonight's contest are brought to you by Stringer, and Gazer, providing personal injury, family law, and workers' compensation cases. That's Stringer, and Gazer. Our head official for tonight is John Rock, and here's the crew that will join him as well. Umpire Marty Lincoln, line judge Tim Grasson, linesman Joe McCafferty, back judge Tony Serino, and the center judge Mike Flatley. We'll take a timeout here in our Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show. When we come back, we will talk to both head coaches on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner, and then we'll bring it back here for keys to the game, the national anthem, and much, much more here at Dan Reeser Stadium at Elyria Catholic High School. It's the Elyria Catholic Panthers taking on the Vermilion Sailors on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back into the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show, getting you ready for kickoff tonight between Vermilion and Elyria Catholic. Time to catch up with the coaches on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We're catching up with Vermilion head coach Bill DeFucci. Coach DeFucci, we appreciate the time as always. Well, you guys are out to such a fantastic start this season. Your ground game has been on point. Evan Coons obviously at the forefront of that. Coach, could you give us the 4-1-1 on Evan Coons for those who haven't seen him run the ball this year? What has made him so good through 3 games?
You know, he sees the field extremely well. He's a patient runner, but he's explosive. So when he sees the gap in the opening he wants to run through, he accelerates through it, and he's got a great stiff arm, just a well-rounded running back that really loves running the football.
Obviously, that group up front has done a nice job of creating some holes for him to run through. What can you tell us about that group up front, that offensive line that's provided a lot of room not only for him but everybody associated with that ground game?
You know, it's a strong group. You know, we got Sean Brown now at left guard, and we've got Chad Ellis at right guard. Those are our 2 senior guys. Cole Rainey has worked back into the mix, and when Sean wasn't able to go, Cole Rainey stepped in at guard and has done a fantastic job of maintaining that cohesiveness with that offensive line. Trey Colahan's a sophomore at center, does a fantastic job of anchoring that line in the middle. And then, you know, both edges, we got other sophomores. You know, I got Trey Garcia at the right tackle. I got Daniel Roy at the left tackle and senior Evan Wagner there. So we've got a collection of guys up front that really take pride in maintaining that run game that we rely on so much out here in Vermilion.
You've got to be pleased with the results so far. Have you kind of taken a look at anybody on the roster or on film that you really believe has gone above and beyond and progressed a ton since you guys went to camp about a month ago?
Yeah, you know, it starts with our quarterback, Drake Hooks. I mean, I think he's done a fantastic job as a first-year starter for us as a junior of really understanding the offense and diving into what our expectations are for every play call that we make. He's done a great job. Certainly the offensive line that we talked about in our backfield. You know, I mean, that's just Evan Coons back there, but we've got Zach Worth, we've got the Kaiser brothers back there, have done a fantastic job of maintaining that level of excellence out there. And we become a little more balanced being able to throw the football. You know, Brock Myers, Micah Smith out at receivers for us, and Aiden Saunders, a tight end, in the run game and the pass game, does a fantastic job of giving this offense weapons and options.
What kind of identity do you think you guys have established defensively through your first 3 games?
You know, we've always been a swarm type defense. We like attacking, we like blitzing a lot, and being good on the back end. I think when we play good tight coverage on the back end, it allows time for our pressures to get there. So defense has done a fantastic job of really kind of stepping up when we need them, and offensively, you know, they complement each other well. The offensive unit, defensive unit, special teams, they all play a vital role in us being successful this early in the season.
You guys are coming off of a week where you ended up having to play on Saturday, so if you can kind of clue us in on that dynamic and some of the good and the bad that kind of comes from that. I'm sure that threw your routine off just a little bit, but it's not all negative. There's probably some good that came of that experience as well. So what were some of the good and bad things that came of that?
Yeah, certainly. I think the bad things when we talk about kind of Saturday game is just the alterations of the boys' schedule. I mean, they're creatures of habit. You know, they enjoy, routines and waking up, going to school, leaving school for a little bit, coming back up to the field for the game. And Saturday presented a different atmosphere for us where we got them out of bed in the morning, had some breakfast for them, and then sent them on their way. And then hours later, they had to come back. So certainly the uncertainty of how they would handle that downtime was the bad side of it. Good side of it was, they were one of few Saturday high school football games going on. So they kind of got to live that Saturday game experience and understand that there weren't many teams playing on a Saturday night like they were.
Of course, tonight you're taking on Elyria Catholic, a team that is playing in their home opener. There's obviously going to be a lot of energy surrounding that. They're also looking for their first win. Coach, as you take a look at the Panthers on paper and on film, what are some things that stand out?
Yeah, you're right. Home opener is always an exciting time to be able to get out in front of the crowd and see everybody. Certainly, the concerns we have are the number of athletes they have. I mean, they've got great ball players sprinkled all across the field, offensively and defensively. They're fast, they're athletic, and they do a great job. So we're going to have a work out for us, making sure that we get to our assignments and we execute at a high level to make sure that we can have success here tonight.
Well, Coach, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck against Elyria Catholic tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate everything you guys do for us.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Vermilion head coach Bill DiFucci joining us here on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We'll step aside and take a quick timeout and come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network. Welcome back into the Stewart's TV and Appliance pregame show, getting you set for kickoff tonight between Elyria Catholic and Vermilion. Time to catch up with the coaches on our Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner, and we're catching up with Elyria Catholic head coach Chase Ferris. Coach Ferris, we appreciate the time as always. Well, home opener tonight. You guys are playing in front of your home crowd for the first time. Obviously, a lot of great energy surrounding that. How do you harness that with these kids and make sure that they're still focused on the task at hand?
Oh, 100%. Like you said, you want to make sure they're focused, but at the same time, football is a game of momentum. So if we go out there high energy, from the jump, I feel like those guys will just continue to portray that and continue to roll through the game. So it's really about harnessing that energy, keeping it high, keeping morale high, and just playing one snap at a time.
You've played some pretty good teams so far this season. Don't have a win just yet, but I'm sure there's still a lot of progress that you see from one week to the next. What are some of those specific areas where you've seen the most amount of progress?
For us, it's about controlling what we can control. We see progress from week to week, but at the same time, we also have growing pains. For us, it's about not stopping ourselves. When we go through a game and we don't stop ourselves, the outcome will be different. So right now, it's about controlling what we can control, continuing to push forward, minimizing errors, and just rolling.
Let's talk about that passing game. So many interesting elements, but of course, it begins with your quarterback, Robbie DeRay, a 5'7" sophomore. Coach, what are some things that he did that kind of helped him to separate himself from the pack?
Oh, as far as Robbie goes, he's a natural leader. He shows up every day, puts the work in. In the weight room, in the film room. His ability to spin it, is great, and he's only going to get better. This is his first year starting as a true sophomore, but as a sophomore, he's one of those guys that you need on the field.
He's got some really big bodies to throw to in that passing game as well. These guys definitely stick out. Connor Lattee at 6'3". You look at Ben Essenbacher at 6'3" also. What can you tell us about his targets in that passing game?
Like you said it. You beat me to the punch. You got Jazeer Terry, Connor Lattee, and Ben Essenbacher all over 6'2". You got three receivers like that. And you got guys like Donnie Shumpert, Aiden Kohlmeyer, and Joels Martin, in that slot position too. And then you still got big bodies tight end. It's a lot of weapons. A lot of places to go with the ball around the field. So, like I said, for us, it's about creating mismatches and putting him in the most favorable position to win.
When you examine that group up front, that offensive line certainly has some pretty good-sized kids up there as well. If you were to pick out a couple of words to describe that group, what would you pick?
Resilient. Right now for these guys, it's about, meshing together. A few of them started last year. 3 of them started last year, but one of them was at a different position and trying to mesh in 2 new guys to the line. So it's about, coming in and putting in the work. And for those guys, they don't quit. And that's the thing. You can easily get down on yourselves, from time to time, but, they respond to the call each and every week. So I would say resilient.
Taking a look at the other side of the ball, Coach, certainly a lot of the same names you had out there defensively from last year. Certainly up front, you guys look pretty stout. What would you say you guys have established as your identity over the first 3 weeks of the season defensively?
Right now, we just got to play fast. Out of our identity, I would just say, that's still to be determined. Like I said, we've played ball, but at the same time, these guys got to realize it's a different mode, going from offense to defense. Not being as passive and really being the aggressors. And I tell our guys every day, like, you got to be the hammer, not the nail. So right now, as far as our identity goes, we want to be a tough-nosed football team. We want to stop the run and defend the pass well. We want to be able to play all type of coverages. But that all starts up front. And in the middle, we need guys to make sure that everything's going our way. So I think for us, it's really about just continuing to do what we do, and really having our best foot forward when it comes to attention to detail and max effort.
Of course, you guys are taking on Vermilion tonight, having a very good start to their season at 3-0. Coach, as you take a look at those guys, both on paper and on film, what are some things that they do really well, and where are some areas where you think they're really going to test you tonight?
Oh, as far as Vermilion goes, it's a great football team. They come out, they play hard. They have a really great running attack. I believe the running back set school record. A couple of weeks back. So for us, it's all about stopping the run. Once we stop the run, we'll play ball from there. But first things first, we got to control the line of scrimmage. If we can do that, we'll be just fine.
Well, Coach Ferris, we appreciate the time as always. Thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck against Vermilion tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Again, that's Elyria Catholic head coach Chase Ferris joining us on the Buckeye Community Bank Coaches Corner. We'll step aside and take a quick timeout and come back with more after this on the Lorain County Sports Network.
An outstanding rendition of our Star Spangled Banner by the Elyria Catholic Marching Band National Anthem, brought to you by United States Air Force. Interested in being a recruit? Report to the U.S. Air Force Office in Avon. Glad to have you with us tonight on the Lorain County Sports Network for our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Legacy Home Finance, your local, reliable, trusted lender. Andy Bolbarch and Will Hicks on the call for you. Let's take a look at our keys to tonight's game. Keys to the game brought to you by Williams Brothers Builders, performing site work, concrete, and carpentry with their own forces. Will, let's take a look at the keys to victory for both sides for tonight.
Some of the keys here, Bull, we have the Vermilion Sailors, who are a nice traditional, old school ground and pound type team. They like to pound the ball. They like to set up their play action. And then we have a more up-to-date Elyria Catholic spread, get our playmakers in space, let them go ahead on and do their thing type offense here. It should be a good game tonight. I'm really trying to see which defense will stop with contrasting offensive style, especially the Elyria Catholic defense. They gave up a lot last week against the mighty Midview. Sorry, thank you. They gave up a lot to the Midview offense, but Vermilion has been actually on point, getting key stops in their 3 games that they've won, being 3-0.
Should be a lot of fun in this one, as you mentioned, with the contrasting styles. And interestingly enough, that'll lead us into the next segment here. Coin toss brought to you by Lorain County Visitors Bureau, celebrating 200 years together. That's the Lorain County Visitors Bureau. Boy, you would think that winning the toss, you'd kind of want to get out and set the tone, but Elyria Catholic won the toss, and they deferred.
Right.
We were both shocked by that.
Yeah, big time. Kind of special tonight. You would think that Elyria Catholic, having the spread offense that they have, they would like to strike first, but they ended up deferring, so we're going to see.
A few moments away for the opening kickoff, brought to you by Lorain County Community College. Kick off your future with LCCC. That's Lorain County Community College. Elyria Catholic just stormed onto the field, and again, they will be kicking off to begin the festivities tonight. The Vermilion Sailors will be going from our left to our right. We'll get to the starting lineups that are brought to you by Garrick's Tavern. Post-game meals just taste better at Garrick's Tavern in Grafton. I'll take a look at this Vermilion offense. Drake Cooks is the quarterback, 6', 210-pound junior. And they've got a couple of backs that'll see a pretty good chunk of the carries. None more will go with Evan Coons, because he'll see a good chunk of them, probably most of them. Coons, a senior 5'11", 200-pounder. Isaac Kaiser, the other starter, at 6'2", 195. He's just a sophomore. 2 receivers. Number 1, Brock Myers, a senior, 6'3", 195. The other, Micah Smith, 5'9", $160. He's a sophomore. Tight end is Aiden Saunders. He's a senior, 6'1", 200-pounder. Up front, they're not especially huge up there. Left tackle, Trenton Garcia, 6', 230. He's a sophomore. The left guard is Chad Ellis, 5'10", 210 senior. The center is the biggest body on that offensive line, and 6'2", 250-pound sophomore Trey Colahan. The right guard is Cole Rainey, 6', 180-pound senior. The right tackle is Daniel Roy, 5'10", 180. He is a sophomore. Will, you can take a look at that defense and go through it for Elyria Catholic if you would like, and then we'll get to the opening kickoff.
All right, we'll start with corner number 10.
Ben Essenmacher?
Ben Essenmacher, nice size, 6'3", 160, junior. The other corner, Robbie Durig, 5'7", 140, sophomore. Defensive end, number 9, Trent Merrill, 6'2", 235, senior. Defensive tackle, 55.
Kanan Regis,
6'1", 255, senior. We have the other D tackle, 77, Amari Lind, 6'3", 250. He's a senior also. Defensive end, Kalen Connors, 6 feet, 175. He's a senior also. Linebackers, Joey Shile, 5'10", 200-pound senior, number 47. Gavin Smith, the other linebacker, 43, 5'10", 170. We also have Patrick Moore at one safety, 5'10", 170. And Mikey Bates, 5'8", 165, junior.
Opening kickoff went out of bounds, so the Vermilion offense will set up shop at their own 20-yard line to get things going here tonight at Dan Reeser Stadium. Home opener for the Elyria Catholic Panthers, looking for their first win of the season. Drake Hooks, junior quarterback, will lead the charge. We'll do the best we can here to give you the play-by-play as the sun is staring right in our face. It's starting to go down ever so slowly. It's a nice little tree line behind the high school. We can't wait for the sun to get behind it.
Right.
Well, Drake Cook, as we mentioned, leads the charge. Evan Coons is having an unbelievable senior season for the Sailors. They're going to pass on first down. It's caught by Coons just inside the numbers at the 23-yard line. He goes down immediately after a 3-yard pickup.
Nice play. Tailback lined up in the slot. Nice little hitch route to get the chains moving. Nice momentum builder.
Second down and 7 coming up for the Sailors. Came into this game averaging 337 yards per game on the ground, nearly 10 yards per carry. Wow. So definitely a tall order for the Elyria Catholic defense, trying to slow them down.
Looking for Elyria Catholic's front four to actually get a push.
They'll run out of the Wildcat. Direct snap will go to Kuntz. Tries the right side, but he's corralled and he's dropped immediately. Picked up maybe a yard on that. Joey Schill, one of the first ones in on the stop, and Joey Schill's a name we expect to see a lot tonight.
Yes, absolutely. The Elyria Catholic front seven, I'm really looking forward to them actually getting a good push up front, controlling the trenches. As you said, Vermilion is one of the teams that likes to pound it.
And when you're averaging almost 10 yards per carry, pretty easy to see why.
Yeah.
They've had a great deal of success in their first 3 games this season against Margaretta, Firelands, and Willard last Saturday. Hooks will take the snap. Double handoff. They give it to Kuntz. Turns the corner left side. He's out in open space to the 30. Stretches the play to the far sideline. Undercut at the 36. They needed 6 yards on third down, and they end up picking up 12 to move the sticks.
You see Coach going deep into the playbook with the end around there.
Well, the double handoff seemed to throw him for a loop.
Yeah. Definitely had us on a misdirection also.
Well, and it's not too tough to fool us up here, right? So, especially with the sun right in our face. A big pickup. They put the ball in the air once already. Again, this is an offense that doesn't throw it a ton. They average just over 10 passing attempts per game. Drake Cooks will move a couple of pieces up front. 2 ends lined up in a wing on the right side. And the handoff goes to Kuntz. Kuntz is tripped up for the backfield, goes down at the 32-yard line. Just didn't have any time to set up shop, and he was dropped by Jacob Unek.
Jacob Unek coming in from the DB position and actually making a beautiful open field tackle. Nice shoestring.
Knocked him down for a 4-yard loss. And look, that's a big body. Evan Kuntz at 5'11", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
A very difficult task to contain him, but so far, for the most part, with the exception of that one run, Elyria Catholic's done all right at containing him. This time they're going to give it left side. Nowhere for the ball carrier to go. He stood up at the 31. They'll lose another one.
That is a great gang tackle by Elyria Catholic Panthers defense. Coming in, answering the bell. I guess they said, we're not giving up a lot of yards tonight.
Zion Castillo was credited with the stop on Isaac Kaiser. The Kaiser boys should see a decent chunk of carries for Vermilion tonight. Isaac Kaiser, 6'2", 195. He's a sophomore. His brother's Aiden Kaiser, 5'10", 170, a senior. Wow. So it's third down and long, and you credit this Elyria Catholic defense. Second third down opportunity that they've presented. Back to pass. Hooks has some time. Throws it left side. Caught by Kuntz. He's wide open. Takes it past the 50. Off to the races. Down the far sideline. One man to beat. It's Jazir Terry, and he knocks him out of bounds inside the 20. Went out near the 16-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle by Jazir Terry.
Yes, absolutely. Vermilion reaching deep in the playbook here. Way to set up that screenplay and grab a great, huge chunk of yardage.
They give him the 15-yard line. That's the second third down conversion on this drive. That time they were staring down the barrel of third down and 16. And, Will, as you know, those ones can be deflating.
Yes, absolutely, especially that one right there. That was a huge play to keep the momentum alive for Vermilion.
They'll bring Hooks up under center this time. He'll turn, and he'll hand this one off. And once again, Elyria Catholic able to swarm to the ball and that'll be about a 2-yard loss.
Elyria Catholic gang tackling. Very, very good pursuit. I'm really looking for the defense of Elyria Catholic to actually have a pretty good game tonight. Really answer the bell, especially after last week's loss to the Middies of Midview.
Coming up on the 8th play of this drive. Began back at their own 20-yard line. Twice they've converted on 3rd down. And Elyria Catholic has a few tackles for loss already on this opening drive. 1st and 2nd down have not been a problem for the Panthers so far. They run out of the Wildcat again. Coons on the carry, takes it left side, has a small hole. That's all he needed. He's able to push that pile up to about the 11-yard line. So now they're looking at a more manageable 3rd down and about 5 here.
Nice play call. Way to get your playmaker the ball in space and watch him work.
Well, we had talked about the size difference up front, that Elyria Catholic front four, and even the front 7, to expand it out that far. You mentioned that already, but then you look at that offensive line for Vermilion. It's not really huge.
But it's effective.
Very.
Very effective.
Hooks will drop back on 3rd down, looking left, nothing there, has to roll out near side right, throws over the middle, the pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Elyria Catholic. It's Jules Martin who comes away with the interception, the sophomore with a big pick to thwart the opening drive.
Jules making a big play for EC to stop the momentum of Vermilion, who was threatening to score. It's a great play. Great play by the young man.
Well, when you're winless on the season, you need little plays like that to spark that fire.
To it now. Looking to see if Elyria Catholic's offense can capitalize.
Led by sophomore quarterback Robbie DeRay, 5'7", $145, but he can sling it. He's been able to throw the ball all over the place the first few games. 617 yards through the year, 6 touchdowns, couple of picks. Handed off to Castillo. Stutter steps, gets to the middle. He's got some room before he's corralled and dropped at the 14-yard line. He picks up 6 yards on 1st down.
Castillo, nice little jitterbug move there. Way to push the pile and keep the chains moving. Elyria Catholic loves to spread you out, and they like to play in space. So I'm looking to see what Vermilion's defense is going to do to stop this.
On 2nd down, they'll give it to Castillo again. Almost look like the exact same play. He wiggles his way up to the 21-yard line. They'll move the sticks.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep it going. Nice play.
Castillo at 5'6", $175. So certainly not the biggest body out there, but again, that can be to your benefit. You don't need a hole to be open for too long before you bust right through it.
Absolutely. It's hard to see, including with the sun.
That's right. Hoping that it's out of the way here pretty quickly. DeRay will hand it off to Castillo again. Tries to bounce it outside, but he's hit immediately and stopped at the 22-yard line.
Castillo gets stood up by the Vermilion front.
If we could see the numbers, we could tell you who it was.
Yeah.
Everybody's having that same issue up here tonight.
The Vermilion Sailors with their gold jersey numbers.
Yeah, on top of their white jerseys,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. Coming up on 2nd down and 9. DeRay dumps it right side, caught in the flat by Castillo again. He's able to make a couple of men miss along the right hash, and then he's tackled at about the 26. Well, they got something out of what looked like nothing initially.
Right. Good play on 2nd. Try to get it, like I said, they're trying to get their athletes in space and let them do their job. So really sitting up here trying to make sure we pay attention to Vermilion's defense now.
DeRay runs out of the shotgun. He has Mikey Bates with him in the backfield. 5 minutes left in this first quarter clock. No score. First drive of the game for Elyria, coming off an interception from Jules Martin, which happened inside the 10-yard line. That's where this drive began. Robbie DeRay, play action fake, throws left side, caught by Connor Lattee, but Lattee is dropped to the 28. A number of Sailors there to knock him down, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
Vermilion with a great response. Great response. I was looking to see if they could play in space, and they come up with a big play to make it 4th and 4.
Well, they've got Connor Lattee, back to punt. A lot of times the punts are handled by Robbie DeRay, but this time they're going to let Latte try and send it away. Too deep for Vermilion. High snap. Latte will bring it down. He kicks it away. Low kick, a bit of a wobbler, angling toward the far sideline. And that's going to stop right around the Vermilion 47.
That's pretty good field position for Vermilion. Let's see if they can build off the stop from their defense. They had pretty good momentum in their first drive, but that one interception just cost them just a little bit.
So they will take over at their own 47-yard line. And, well, they moved the ball pretty well on that first drive, but a lot of their offense came on third down.
Yeah, absolutely. Big plays on third down. A lot of misdirections and screens. So it seems like Vermilion can play in space also.
Coons is the tailback, lined up off the right hip. Man in motion will be a keeper. Taken up the middle by Hooks. He'll take it across the 50. He goes down at the 49-yard line.
Also, the quarterback is very, very big. 6'4", 200 pounds. 200, yeah, that's nice size for a quarterback.
And they haven't really asked him to run it a ton. He did come into this game with 44 yards on the ground, just about 5 yards per carry, and a rushing touchdown as well. But they haven't really asked him to do a ton with his feet.
Another weapon in the run game.
As if they needed one, right?
Right.
Two receivers lined up on the far side. They'll take the snap, and they'll give to Kuntz. He tries the middle. He's able to push the pile past the 45. He's got first down yardage. He's able to get up to about the 43. Will he push that pile about 3 yards up the field?
My goodness, way to keep the legs churning there. Kuntz with a Larry Zonka. I'm reaching old school now. Larry Zonka type run.
A lot of different ways we could have gone with that. Larry Zonka, Jerome Bettis, right? The list goes on.
Yeah. Now the kids like King Henry.
That's right. That's right. He's earned that nickname over the past decade.
Absolutely.
Yeah. First down and 10 now for the Sailors. They're inside Elyria Catholic territory for the second time tonight. They'll do some shifting up front. Coons is lined up in a wing on the left side. Hooks will grab the snap. They'll give to Kaiser. Stiff arms the defender, trying to turn the corner. He's able to get to the 40-yard line, spins off another defender, and he's tackled outside the numbers at about the 39. Oh, Will, it looked like he was corralled twice on that play.
Absolutely. I'm very impressed already just in the first quarter with Vermilion's backs. They all run really hard, and they fight for every inch. Really impressed by those guys.
Isaac Kaiser able to pick up about 4 yards on that play. Came in averaging just over 6 yards per carry. 2:20 left on this first quarter clock. Still no score between the Sailors and the Panthers. This time, Hooks is up under center. They'll hand off to Coates. He tries the middle. He runs right into a big green wall of Elyria Catholic Panther defenders. He got maybe up to the 37. They'll give him a yard on that, but not much more.
Elyria Catholic is saying enough is enough. The front seven is trying to answer the bell tonight with this ground and pound of Vermilion.
And they came in knowing they would be tested.
Yes, absolutely.
Any guesswork, right? They figured they'd see a healthy chunk of the running game. They've gotten a lot of it so far. They come out in the I formation again with a pair of receivers, one on each side of the line. Play action fake. Hooks is going to keep it, though. He's going to run it. He gets to the 35, and he's tackled along the numbers. He's going to be short. They'll spot him down at the 34, and they're looking at 4th down and 2.
Great open field tackle. As we said before, partner, quarterbacks, running backs, they just have a stable.
They can all run it. I mean, they've got 5 able bodies that see a consistent amount of time in that running game. Even Micah Smith, one of their slot receivers, he's also run it a couple times for them this season.
So I'm wondering with this stable of ball carriers that Vermilion has, is it going to be fatigue that sets in for Elyria Catholic? We shall see.
Early movement on the right side of the line. And that's going to cost Vermilion 5 yards. Where they're at on the field. You get the impression, though, Will, this is still 4-down territory, no?
Right.
But that certainly complicates the scenario. You were looking at 4th and 2. Now you're looking at 4th and 7. A couple of bodies will sub in for Elyria Catholic. One of them, Dominique Worthy, 5'11", 220-pound sophomore. They like to rotate in, both he and Weston Williams along that front four.
Definitely looking for the front seven of an EC to stand up on this one.
It's lobbed down the field for Coons. He can't quite make the one-handed catch at the 5-yard line. It falls incomplete, and they'll turn it over on downs. A real nice ball thrown by Dre Cooks.
Great play call. Dre Cooks with a dime. A little too tall for Mr. Coons. But if he caught it, it would have been nothing but green grass in front of him.
Something to keep an eye on as this game progresses, because he had a couple of steps on his defender.
Yes.
You feel like that's a play they might go back to later?
We might see it later. We might see a different variation of it. I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Vermilion offense. They set up the one for the play action. It's been effective.
Elyria Catholic will set up shop at their own 39-yard line. First down and 10, their second drive of the game. They ran 5 plays and then had to settle for a punt their last time. DeRay will hand it off. They go right back up the middle again. Couple of tackles broken by Castillo. He's dragged down inside Vermilion territory at the Sailors 42. Boy, Zion Castillo. Certainly seems as though he's gotten the message. Look, people came in talking about this Sailor running game, and he's matched them pound for pound for so far.
Absolutely. Mount Zion Castillo with a big run, gashing up the A-gap. He's saying, hey, I'm here.
A lot of room to run. And they'll give it to him again. Big hole again. He's able to get inside the 30-yard line. Takes a couple of Sailors to drag him down at the 25.
Mr. Castillo is actually making a case today.
And they didn't run it a ton. And we talked about this during the pregame show. They've been able to spread it out. And so far, they've had a lot of their success offensively running the ball. That takes us to the end of the first quarter. There's no score between Elyria Catholic and Vermilion on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. No scoring in that first quarter for either side here at Dan Reeser Stadium at Elyria Catholic High School. So glad to have you with us on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bolbarch and Will Hicks on the call for you. It'll be first down and 10 for Elyria Catholic, going from our left to our right. On the move on their second drive, they give it to Zion Castillo. Tries to dance his way along the right hash, and he's tackled right around the 21-yard line.
Zion Castillo has really shown up in the first quarter here, making some big gashing runs between the tackles. I'm very impressed so far.
And again, a little bit different than what we expected. Elyria Catholic really hasn't had to put the ball in the air so much tonight. They've been able to move the ball at least a little bit. And they'll give it to Castillo again. He's able to work the middle, and there are a few Sailors that take him down near the 15-yard line. He'll be a little bit short, setting up third down and about 1.
Elyria Catholic has shown a heavy dosage of running here when they're usually passing out of this spread offense, but they're really establishing the run so far.
And that group up front's been pretty impressive. Zion Castillo has had some room to run. Third down and 2 here. They spot the ball at the 16-yard line. Robbie DeRay, sophomore quarterback, came in completing just under 59% of his passes on the year. And he's been at least a little bit of a threat in the running game. He's got Castillo off his left side, sends him in motion, throws right side, and the pass is knocked down at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. Evan Coons almost had a big pick, but he was able to get his paws on that to deny the screen. And fourth down is coming up.
Evan Coons from that edge position actually showing some activity with his hands, batting that ball down.
And a timeout has been called by the Elyria Catholic Panthers. They want to talk this over. Timeouts throughout the night brought to you by Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran, securing and organizing real estate documents. That's the Lorain County Recorder Mike Duran. And they are just inside of that Steve Lawson of Russell Real Estate Services Red Zone, selling or buying your next house. Visit superstevesells.com. That's superstevesells.com. Well, Will, what do you draw up here on 4th down?
Why, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Hand it off to Mr. Castillo again. He has actually been showing up for the Elyria Catholic offense so far. He's been the bright spot.
And I think it will be tough to dispute that. I mean, you do have a lot of weapons in that passing game, but you're right. Their bread and butter so far tonight has been with that ground game. Castillo has been able to find the holes and explode right through them. Offense stays on the field coming out of that timeout. 4th down and 2 at the Vermilion 16-yard line. They will load up the backfield. DeRay will take the snap. They give to Castillo. Big hole left side. He's got the first down and then some. Keeps his legs moving. He's able to work his way inside the 10. The pile still moving close to the 5, and they finally whistle the play dead. Just as you mentioned, partner.
Once again, big play from the man, Mount Zion, Mr. Castillo. The jumbo set, that was new. Giving Vermilion a dose of their own medicine, it seems like.
It's a huge pickup on 4th down, coming up on the 7th play of this drive. It began back at their own 39-yard line after they forced Vermilion to turn the ball over on downs. And here comes that jumbo package again. DeRay will take the snap. They give to Zion Castillo. He's able to work his way up the middle. He's awfully close. Did he get in? The official on the near side says no. He said he went down at the 1-yard line.
Elyria Catholic has something going. They have a nice rhythm going with their running game. Mr. Castillo is seeming to getting stronger each carry.
They will get to the line very quickly. Castillo on the carry again. This time he stood up and dropped in the backfield. He goes down at the 5-yard line.
Nice penetration.
And it looked like they were going with the same play, and that time Vermilion wasn't fooled.
Nice penetration by the Sailors defense. They came in, shot the A-gap, and closed the door on Mr. Castillo in the run game.
Well, they kept that same personnel on the field, and you kind of figured they were just going to try and continue to run it down the throats of the Sailors, and so far they've had a lot of success doing that, but Vermilion won that battle, setting up 3rd down and goal.
Seems like EC is winning the battle of the trenches here on this drive.
And we have another timeout taken by Elyria Catholic. We'll go ahead and keep this one here, though, because they are knocking on the door. And look, coming into this game, I think there were a lot of people that kind of thought it would be Vermilion's game to lose, even though they're on the road. But I think going into this thing, a lot of people looked at Elyria Catholic as the underdogs, but they certainly haven't played like it so far. Absolutely.
Playing with a lot of pride tonight here in the home opener. Elyria Catholic is actually, doing a great job with this run game. They've been known to pass out of the spread offense, but they're showing that they can run it also.
Well, and you saw them last week against Midview. What are some of the major differences that you noticed between what we're seeing tonight and last week?
Well, for one of their playmakers, Mr. Shumpert, he's not playing tonight, so the game plan has definitely shifted from what I'm seeing now, what we're seeing now, from the first quarter on. Is they're riding on the shoulders of Mr. Castillo right now in the run game.
So it'll be 3rd down and goal. The ball at the 5-yard line. DeRay comes up under center, grabs the snap, play action fake, rolling out right, looking down the field. He throws this one to the corner of the end zone. It falls incomplete. There were a couple of receivers in the area. He had Trent Merrill out there along with Joey Schill, but wisely I think he saw there was nothing open down there, and he threw it out of bounds.
Wise play. And this end of the field is actually a lot shorter than what it is in the open field. So a lot of these play calls, they're going to be real condensed.
So it's coming up on 4th down and 5. And decision time here for Elyria Catholic head coach Chase Ferris. Ben Essenmacher takes care of the kicking duties. He's a perfect 9 for 9 on point after attempts there were no attempted field goals in the stat sheet. And this would be a little bit more than an extra point, not by much, but by a few yards if they go that route.
Trying to get some type of points on the board, being down here in Vermilion's end of the field. I'm looking at quarterback Robbie DeRay. He's still laying here, and the trainers are checking him out. He took a big pop from that last play.
The training staff tending to him down on the sideline. And while they're taking a look at him, I want to remind you that coming up at the half, we've got our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. If you have insurance questions, call Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. If we have any points scored at the half, we'll get you a scoring update. We'll get you some first half stats as well, and we'll also take a look at what's going on in other high school football stadiums in and around the area as Robbie DeRay comes off the field. And for now, it looks like he's a little shaken up.
Hope all is well for Robbie DeRay.
And as they trot onto the field, it looks like they are going to line up for a field goal. This should be just about a 22-yard field goal attempt. So again, just a little bit more than an extra point. It's Ben Essenmacher, left-footed kicker. The kick is on the way. It's got the distance, and it is good. So a 22-yard field goal for Ben Essenmacher. Those are the first 3 points of the game. Elyria Catholic leads Vermilion 3-0 with 8:55 to play in the second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. Elyria Catholic puts a real nice drive together. They get 3 points out of it, a 22-yard field goal from Ben Essenmacher, and they lead 3-0 over Vermilion with just inside of 9 minutes to go in the second quarter. Glad to have you with us on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bullbarch and Will Hicks on the call for you. Edwin Vereen is the captain of our ship. He's the director. We've got Sam Sovacool working the camera tonight. Almost halfway through the 2025 season. Elyria Catholic will kick it back away, and this will be retrieved right around the 14-yard line. Taken out past the 30. Big seam. Micah Smith is knocked out of bounds on the near sideline. He went out at the 50-yard line. And Micah Smith, a guy that kind of does a little bit of everything. He kicks. He's the starting corner. He's also their starting receiver. And he comes through with a huge kickoff return to give Elyria Catholic great field, or I should say to give Vermilion great field position.
Nice return by the do-it-all Swiss Army knife of putting Vermilion here at midfield. Nice field position.
Moving the ball has not been a problem. Finishing drives has been the issue for the Sailors. Drake Cooks, junior quarterback, waiting back in the shotgun. He'll grab the snap, and they'll go right up the middle, and there's just not a whole lot of room to operate initially. The Piles continuing to move forward, though, going inside Elyria Catholic territory to the Panthers' 45.
Vermilion's tailbacks are running very extremely hard.
And there are so many different bodies that have had success in that rushing attack. You kind of feel like it's going to be Evan Coons most of the time, but then when you think that, they give a quick hitter to Isaac Kaiser. He picks up big yards.
And then you can't forget his brother also.
That's right. And Zach Worth is another name to keep in mind in this rushing attack. He came into this game averaging 7 yards a carry. They'll send Kaiser in motion. They'll give it to him. Trying to turn the corner right side, he does. He's off to the races down that far sideline. Castillo, the only man to beat. He shoves him out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. Aiden Kaiser picks up big yardage. But we do have some laundry on the field back at the 45. And it looks like this one's coming back.
Big play by Vermilion.
Well, that's our first penalty of the night.
Big play by Vermilion, but it's being called back.
John Rocker, head referee, makes the official call. It is holding against Vermilion. And that negates what would have been about a 30-yard pickup. Factor that into the 10-yard loss. That wipes away a gigantic play.
Very huge.
Well, they've been running Coons out of the Wildcat. Hooks will drop back, setting up a screen. Throws right side, caught by Coons. Coons is hit and dropped at the 42-yard line. So they end up losing about 3 yards on that play. And Elyria Catholic, their defense, read that right away.
Nice rallying tackle from EC's defense. They are definitely up for the challenge tonight. One thing I can say about Vermilion's offense, they definitely understand how to control the clock. And a lot of these big plays, you would think we would have a different score here.
Well, they've been faced with third down and long before. And they've been pretty successful on this down. Hooks looking down the field, being chased. Throws this one down the middle. A jump ball that's picked off. It's intercepted at about the 35-yard line and taken out of bounds. That's Corey Armelin with the interception. Second pick of the game for the Panthers. And they'll get the ball close to midfield.
Corey Armelin with a big, huge pick. Huge pick. Great play.
Corey Armelin and Jules Martin, both with interceptions for Elyria Catholic tonight.
I wonder if we can bring out the turnover chain.
Every team's got something different now, right? So
right.
They've gotten so creative with that. We do have a penalty. It's going against Elyria Catholic, but I believe that happened after the interception. So it will be EC ball, but now they get it all the way back at the 28, their own 28. And they'll start this drive with just inside of 7 minutes to play in the second quarter. 3-0 Panthers, 2 big interceptions.
2 huge turnovers for EC's defense to stall the Vermilion Sailors' threatening pushes on their offensive side.
Ben Essenmacher now at quarterback. They'll give it to Castillo. Takes it straight up the middle, spins his way past the 35 and goes down at the 36. That's an 8-yard pickup on first down, and, Will, that's been there for him all night.
It has. I'm very impressed by EC's offensive line. They're controlling the trenches. They're actually getting a big, huge push against the front four of Vermilion, which is allowing Mr. Castillo the big gains all night.
Essenmacher waiting on the snap. Vermilion showing pressure. They give to Castillo again. He's got room to run. He'll take it past the 40. Picks up first down yardage. Tackled at the 41.
Castillo's not the biggest, but I tell you what, he is running with a lot of heart. Huge runs, very tough also. Taking a lot of contact and dishing it out.
And again, this is just so wildly different than what we were expecting here tonight.
You know what, partner? We might as well go ahead and throw the keys out and just sit back and watch, enjoy the show.
And I think a lot of people who are watching this are probably thinking the same thing. This has just turned out a whole lot different than we all expected. Essenmacher will grab the snap, but there was some early movement before that was sent back to him. Somebody moved early for Elyria Catholic.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have any penalties over the first 14 or 15 minutes, and we've had 3 over the course of the past 4 or 5 plays.
3 huge penalties to stop drives and ending up in 2 turnovers for EC's defense.
Essenmacher's got 3 receivers to work with. He'll give to Castillo. Trying to turn the corner left side. He's able to get past the 40-yard line, and he's tackled outside the numbers at the 42. So he picks up right around what they lost on that penalty, maybe just a skosh more. They're trying to figure out where exactly he went down. They'll put him down at the 41.
Back to the original line of scrimmage here for this second down play.
And you also have to wonder, too, with Robbie DeRay out of the equation for now, Essenmacher in, does the personnel make the decision a little bit easier for you as far as if you decide to run it or throw it? They give it to Castillo again. Spins his way past the 50 to the 49 of Vermilion.
Nice run for Mr. Castillo. Continuously dishing out contact. I'm really liking his runs. Very physical.
And opposing teams did have some success against Vermilion running the ball. 525 yards surrendered on the ground in their 3 wins. That's an average of just under 6 yards per pop. 3rd down and 1 coming up for Elyria Catholic. Essenmacher will give to Castillo again. He takes it right up the left side and he pushes his way along the hash to the 44-yard line, and they'll move the sticks one more time.
Starting to see Vermilion give up big chunks of yardage here. Castillo is really having success running behind this wall of an offensive line.
And they found a formula that clearly works for him. Zion Castillo has become the star of the show, a senior, 5'6", 175-pound tailback.
I'm wondering if Coach Fierce is going to use a play action here with all the runs that he's had.
Castillo on the carry again. This time he'll try the near side. He's tackled from behind. He went down near the 43-yard line. It was Daniel Roy who got him from the other side of the field.
That's a nice tackle.
There is a flag at the 50-yard line, and it looks like this is going against the Panthers.
The penalties here, partner, is really stopping these drives on both sides. I wonder if the coaches going into halftime are going to try to clean this up a little bit.
Yeah, and again, that wasn't a problem for the entire first quarter, first couple of moments of the second, but they've certainly loomed large these last few minutes. Going to push the ball back inside EC territory. Panthers have it at their own 44-yard line. Again, they're up 3-0, 4 minutes to play in the second. Essenmacher calling for the snap. He gets it. They give to Mikey Bates this time. He's able to go straight up the middle, and he's dragged down at the 48 of Vermilion.
Elyria Catholic switching up the backs. Same formula, same result. Huge chunk of yardage coming off the left side of the tackle. Elyria Catholic has something here, partner.
And I think what's got to be concerning for Vermilion right now is they don't have an answer for it. And haven't since that first drive for the Panthers, where again it didn't result in points, but they found some sort of rhythm. Bates on the carry again. This time he breaks one tackle, somehow fights his way forward to get up to about the 44.
Oh, we have a player down.
So Elyria Catholic already playing without Robbie DeRay, who exited that last offensive series. Now they've got one of their linemen down at the 48. We'll step aside, take a quick timeout as well. 3-0. Elyria Catholic leads Vermilion, 3:10 to play second quarter on the Lorain County Sports Network. coming out of that injury timeout. It's 3rd down and 11 for Elyria Catholic, but they're inside Vermilion territory at the Sailors' 44-yard line. Essenmacher has taken over the quarterbacking duties with the injury to Robbie DeRay. He'll take a low snap, drop back, facing some pressure. Rolling out to the right, throws it down the field. The pass falls incomplete.
Partner, we were waiting for EC's offense to see if we were going to allow Big Ben to make a pass here. But they've been having great success up front in the trenches, allowing EC's backs to gash Vermilion for huge chunks of yards.
Tried to get that into the hands of Aiden Kohlmeyer, but the pass was knocked away, incomplete. So now it's 4th down. They're at a tricky part of the field, although I think given the yardage they have to gain to move the sticks, they're going to punt this away. Connor Lattee will come out to punt this away. Micah Smith back inside his own 10-yard line to receive this. Lattee will pull a high snap down, get this away. Bit of a wobbler. Smith will wisely back away. This bounces inside the 5, still going inside the 2-yard line. And it looks like it went into the end zone for just a moment. Boy, what an effort at the very end of that play. Jazir Terry almost tapped that back in, but he just got inside the end zone, and it'll be a touchback.
Gotta love the effort. Gotta love the effort. Nice kick.
It was a great punt, and it stopped right about where he wanted it to. Yeah. There was enough hang time on that thing that Smith couldn't settle underneath it. He kind of backed away on it.
Mikey Smith using his IQ there in that particular moment.
2:44 to play in this second quarter. And a long ways to go for the Vermilion Sailor offense. They have it at their own 20-yard line after that touchback, and they've been able to move the ball offensively, but they haven't been able to put any points on the board.
Yeah, drives have been stalled by penalties and also turnovers.
Man goes in motion at Smith. They'll fake the give to him, and instead they're going to go right up the middle, and there's nowhere to go. We've said that a lot tonight. The interior of that Elyria Catholic defensive line has been pretty stout. That'll be a loss of at least 1, maybe 2.
Elyria Catholic standing up here, answering the bell, knowing that Vermilion is coming in known for their running game, but Elyria Catholic's defense is up for the challenge. Hey, partner, sun went down.
Now we can actually see a little bit, yeah. We're using one hand to write things down, the other hand to shield ourselves from the sun. Now we've got them both at our disposal. Moments like this, you wish you were an octopus, right? You need
Yeah, absolutely.
Trey Cooks wants that shotgun snap. He gets it, throws left side, and the pass is caught out in the flat. This is taken up to about the 20-yard line. Brock Myers made the catch, but he was tackled almost immediately. He got just to about the 21, setting up 3rd down and long.
3rd down and long. Wanting to see the offense of Vermilion, see if they can reach down and pull out a play to at least get a decent amount of yards. Maybe they can go for it on 4th and short.
We went through those passing numbers during the pregame show. Drake Cooks, 17 of 34, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. They'll do that double handoff again, and they give it to Kuntz. He's able to step his way past the 30 up to the 32-yard line, and they'll pick up another 1st down. There's that double handoff we saw earlier.
We knew that it was coming, but we didn't know it was coming back this soon. Nice play for Vermilion. Way to reach down in the playbook and call a great one. Way to keep the Panthers defense off guard.
Picked up about 11 yards on that on a 3rd and long situation. They'll go with 3 wide receivers. Hooks left side, and the pass sails over the head of Myers, incomplete. Well, Brock Myers is a big target at 6'3", 195, but that pass had way too much steam on it and way too much air underneath it.
6'4" to 6'3". Pass was just a little too tall, like you said.
And that's a timing route. Didn't seem like the timing was there for him either. That was thrown off by just a bit, but that's a pass I'm sure Dre Cooks would love to have back because they would have gotten at least a little chunk on that. Inside of a minute to play in the second quarter. Dre Cooks immediately rolls out to his right, looking down the field. The pass falls incomplete. There was just nothing open down there. He was looking for Joe Schaub, a 6-foot senior. And now it's 3rd down and long.
Vermilion trying to go to the pass game right now. But that's still within their scheme. They like to run the ground and pound, and it sets up for those timing routes, as we've seen the last couple plays. Just not able to deliver.
Well, can they come through on 3rd and long again? They did earlier on this drive on that double handoff. And that's a play that's worked for them twice already. Hooks rolling out again, facing pressure, throws it across the middle. There's nobody home. It's incomplete. He was looking for Coons again. Mikey Bates had him blanketed. And that incompletion sets up 4th down. Although we do have a flag at the 50-yard line on the other side of the field. Well, Mikey Bates came away pleading his innocence there. But where that flag is, Will, that's way away from where the play ended.
Yeah, Mikey Bates. I don't understand. Trying to see if it was maybe holding on the defense on that side.
It's going against Elyria Catholic. We do know that, as they've spotted the ball at the 43. It is a hold going against the Panthers. So the penalties looming large again.
Mikey Bates might want to take up a career in being a lawyer. There's plenty of law firms.
Well, and he drew a tough assignment there, trying to go stride for stride with Evan Coons. That's a name we'd figured we'd say a whole lot tonight. 2 receivers lined up on the far side. They've got Coons lined up on the right side here. Rolling out right, Hooks fires it down the field, looking for Myers. He overshot him. It fell incomplete on that far sideline. We have another flag on the play, almost in the exact same spot.
Right. I'm actually looking for who the intended receiver was.
He was looking for Brock Myers.
Brock Myers.
And, boy, when he let that go, it was almost as if he tried to set that penalty up, almost as if he saw the hold. He figured if he threw it down there, he might set it up. And now we have a flag against Vermilion, it looks like. They pointed in the direction of Vermilion, so this is going on the Sailors.
Seems like the referees are getting plenty of action now.
It's an ineligible man downfield.
Okay.
So they'll spot it at the 38-yard line.
Penalties on both sides are really stalling these drives. The drives seem like they're trying to get momentum, on the offensive side of the ball, each side, and somehow, some way, the penalties are just stalling both sides.
And it kills your rhythm. There's no question about that.
But for a team like Vermilion, who, their biggest thing is momentum with their running game, it really kills them.
Coons is lined up off the left side of the quarterback, Hooks. Hooks back to pass again. Throws down the middle. There is nobody there. Incomplete, but another flag comes flying out. He, once again, was looking for one of his captains, and Brock Myers.
Brock Myers may have a career in the showbiz. He is really putting on an acting job here.
So this pendulum just continues to swing one way and the other. I mean, look, there's a penalty on one side, and then there's a penalty on the other side, and it just continues to swing here. That's a 15-yard penalty. That's going to put the ball back inside Elyria Catholic territory.
Seems like Brock Myers going for the Academy Award tonight. He's drawing plenty of penalties on the defensive backs of Elyria Catholic.
Now, they've put the ball in the air a lot on this drive. Certainly something that I'm sure they didn't want to do. Not to say they can't do it. I mean, again, they can throw when they need to, but if things are going well for Vermilion, they're not throwing it as often as they've thrown it tonight. Well, the quarterback, Hooks, is in trouble. He gets sacked back at the 37-yard line. Kylan Connors brought him down for a big loss.
Big time play by Elyria Catholic's defense. Way to get penetration up front off the quarterback bootleg, allowing them to push Vermilion way back.
A timeout has been called here to stop the clock with 28 seconds left. Vermilion will call the timeout. So we'll keep it right here. Again, coming up at the half, we've got the Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. We'll get you a look at some other scores in and around the area. Take a look at some first half numbers. Not much of a scoring recap right now. And, I think if you had told somebody that before the game started, Will, I think they figured if it was going to be tough and physical and tough to score, that might favor Vermilion. It's favored EC.
EC's actually turned the tables a lot from the beginning of their first drive. Heavy dosages of Mr. Zion Castillo on the offensive side, and complementing the run game of EC is their defense. They're actually standing up and answering the bell, taking on the challenge of Vermilion's mighty run game.
Their last drive, of course, they did not have Robbie DeRay, their quarterback. It was Ben Essenmacher who took over. Didn't ask him to throw the ball a ton on that drive. And then again, when you're running it the way they're running it, you don't have to put the ball in the air. This is a second and very long. They'll call it 2nd down and 24 after that Kylan Connors sack for Elyria Catholic.
Really looking for EC to pin their ears back and get more penetration up front.
Hooks sets up for a pass, throws right side, has a man wide open on the far side. He's taken out of bounds at about the 38-yard line. Not quite first down yardage, but close.
Vermilion continues to pass, and that was a huge gain.
Got it to Aiden Kaiser. And timeout Vermilion again. The Sailors have one more at their disposal. And at the 38-yard line, 21 seconds left. You know, they don't kick it a whole lot. Micah Smith, 10 for 10 coming in on his extra points, but no field goals attempted to this point. So it's tough to give you an idea as to what kind of range he really has. And for Vermilion, I mean, I can't say it's not a big strike offense. They've run off some big plays, but those have primarily come on the ground.
Hey, partner, Vermilion is really looking to put it in the end zone right here. Coming into this game here, they haven't been playing from behind, really. So this right here is a lot of pressure. So we're going to see if they can actually answer in these last 21 seconds of this quarter to see if they can put it in.
Drake Cooks has his troops back at the line. 3rd down and 1. They do the double handoff again, and this time Elyria Catholic is not full. We've got a bunch of flags that come flying in. Elyria Catholic emerges from the pile with the ball, but we've got laundry all over the field.
I think Coach Fierce is highly upset. I think he was talking to one of his players trying to get the personnel right on EC's defense, but I think one of the flags is 12 men on the field.
I think you're right because of where that flag is at about the 34. That's awfully close to the line of scrimmage. And it came on that near sideline, which is where the official would have seen someone trying to run off. So now the officials are trying to work through all of this because if that's what the penalty is, it would give Vermilion a 1st down. There you go. Just as you spotted it. Well done, partner. Very well done. So that gives them a fresh set of downs. However, 7 seconds came off the clock there.
Big time. Like we said, partner, in the second quarter, it's been a lot of penalties. Some drive killers, and in this case right here, it was a divine call from up above helping out Vermilion.
And it gives them a 1st down, but they still have a long ways to go.
Yeah.
Ball is at the 33 of EC. Vermilion does have 1 timeout to work with.
Vermilion's passing game has been pretty effective. I'm looking for Brock Meyer to be a big part of this here, being down close to the red zone of EC.
Tough to ignore that size, 6'3", 195. And he's been the primary target in their passing game. Coming into tonight's game, he had caught 10 passes for 263 yards and a couple of touchdowns. It looked like they were ready. Then one of the officials blew the whistle, and something wasn't right. The official on the far side of the field communicating with John Rocker, head referee.
Seems like they also put the 7 seconds back on the clock also. So that could work in Vermilion's offensive favor.
7 seconds back on the clock at 21 seconds. Hooks back to pass. Looking across the middle, has a man open. Myers, but it's knocked away by Mikey Bates, incomplete. Great play by Bates to take that out of the hands of Brock Myers.
Big time play by Mikey Bates, zeroing in on Brock Meyer, coming across the middle there. Couldn't draw a flag this time, partner.
Great play. I think he saw that coming, and Myers, if he had it for just a split second. But Bates was able to break that up. And only 5 seconds came off the clock that time. So now we're looking at 16 ticks left on this second quarter clock.
Vermilion is still threatening, though. They're sticking with the passing game right now.
Coons, the tailback, lined up on the left side of the quarterback Hooks. They'll send a man in motion. Back to pass. Hooks is in some trouble. Rolling out to his right. He gets sacked again. This time it's Trent Merrill who takes him down at the 43-yard line.
Big time play. Big time by Elyria Catholic's defense, getting penetration up the middle. They are definitely controlling the line of scrimmage here.
You can see on that replay, Trent Merrill, a guy that a lot of times will require more than just one body to block him. 6'2", 235, a senior, and that was a guy that Coach Ferris had singled out to us during our pregame interview with him last year before their Padua game. He had said Merrill had made some really big strides his junior year, and again at 6'2", 235, he's got the size, he's got the athleticism, and he can certainly be very disruptive in the backfield.
During this offensive drive, he has been actually back there causing havoc in the backfield of Vermilion. They may need to clean up some things going into halftime with 9 seconds left. See if Vermilion can, what they can do with 3rd and 20.
They are out of timeouts, and they have just 9 seconds left to work with in the second quarter. Again, they're trailing 3-0. Moving the ball down the field, something they really haven't had much of a problem with, but it's about this spot in the field where they've kind of stalled. Turned it over on down once, a couple of interceptions. Trey Cooks has time. Lobs this one up deep down the field. The pass falls incomplete on the far sideline.
Great coverage by EC's secondary.
Another flag, this one at the 48. That's in the area where you typically see a hold.
EC's front four has really been putting pressure and getting a lot of penetration. I think we're going to see a lot of this here.
It is a hold against Vermilion. It's been declined because that will bring up 4th down. It'll be 4th and 20. Either way, this will end up being the last play of the half, which makes you wonder why it was declined. Why wouldn't you take that, right?
Right.
Okay, so they decided to accept it. Initially, I thought I saw Coach Ferris say no, and then the officials saw the same thing we did, and then I think he realized, wait a minute, there's 3 seconds left. Make him go the extra 10 yards.
Right. I think we should see a kneel here going into the half.
It is 4th and a long, long, long ways to go. Beg your pardon, 3rd, since they accepted the penalty, and a long ways to go. But you're right, anything other than a kneel, I think might be a bit of a surprise unless they decide to just air it out and hope for the best. Hooks is in trouble right away. Steps up, he's going to run. Merrill catches up to him and tackles him at about the 50-yard line. And that brings us to the end of the second quarter. 3-0, Elyria Catholic leading Vermilion. And, Will, you could sense the energy as the Panthers run down and we're right back into their locker room.
The home opener. It is definitely in the air.
And they fed off that. I think there's something to be said for that. And, we had talked to Coach Ferris about that before the game. How do you harness that, right? Because, when you're in school all day, this is all you're thinking about. You finally get a chance to play at home, right? They're playing at Bishop Hartley a couple hours away. Then that second week, they had to go all the way over to Mayfield. Certainly not a hard drive, but depending on when you take it, it can take you a while to get out there and back.
Absolutely.
Then they finally had a close game against Midview last week, so now they get to play at home, right? There's just something different about that. But again, you just get the feeling they fed off that so far.
Absolutely. The energy is definitely high. Playing off the crowd's momentum, being home cooking. Actually, I think EC is playing with a lot of heart tonight. Those 3 losses that they had, I was able to see the one with Midview. A lot of talent, playing with a lot of heart tonight. I'm impressed by their defense, actually getting penetration, stuffing the run here with Vermilion's prolific run game. I'm very impressed. Oh, and Mr. Castillo, big runs. They've thrown our keys out. There is no more keys. EC is actually answering the bell. They're playing with a lot of heart, running it hard, playing great defense. I'm very impressed tonight.
We can revisit those keys a little bit later on. We'll do that at the tail end of our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. But first, we'll step aside and take a timeout. We'll come back in just a few moments, and we'll kind of rehash this first half of action, take a look at some other scores and much, much more. Again, it's Elyria Catholic 3 and Vermilion nothing on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week on the Lorain County Sports Network. Halfway through this one, it's Elyria Catholic 3 and Vermilion nothing on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Happy to bring it to you on the Lorain County Sports Network. Andy Bullbarch and Will Hicks on the call for you in Week 4 of this high school football season. Well, this is not the score I think many had in mind entering this one tonight. A lot of people had Vermilion as the prohibitive favorites. Well, it certainly hasn't turned out that way so far. The physicality of Elyria Catholic certainly has loomed large in this game.
Absolutely. It looks like the tables have turned. We're seeing EC doing a lot more running between the tackles, and we're seeing Vermilion doing a lot more in the passing game. So our keys have really been wrong.
And we'll revisit those keys at the end of halftime. But, for right now, you see this 3-0 score. And I think you could certainly carve this up a couple of different ways. Vermilion could tell you, look, we've had a couple of big turnovers. Those thwarted some really big drives. We feel like we could be up by a couple scores in this game. And you look at what Elyria Catholic has done, controlling the line of scrimmage. They'd probably look at that scoreboard and think, how are we only up 3-0 in this game, right? They should have a lot more points as well. There have been some missed opportunities and some mistakes down the stretch. Penalties and turnovers have definitely been a big part of the puzzle.
Penalties definitely on both sides have stalled huge drives. On both sides, we've actually seen big plays, but the penalties have, really stabbed both of them. So those drive killers are very bad, especially in this game here. But 3-0, I don't think Elyria Catholic really, coming in. A lot of people had confidence in them being there 0-3, but Elyria Catholic said, hey, we're still here, and they're playing with a lot of heart tonight.
A lot of heart, and I think, Will, one thing that stands out, too, especially in that second quarter, they're playing with a lot more confidence.
Yes.
That's certainly not something you would expect from a team that comes in 0-3, but the confidence was absolutely there, especially in that last drive. Vermilion just didn't have a whole lot of time to get a play off, and they didn't have much time for their quarterback, Drake Hooks, to set up shop and get a pass off because there was just so much penetration from that defensive line.
You know what, the defensive line with the penetration, and also let's get some love back to the secondary, the no-fly zone. They're starting to sit up here and see, making it very hard for the Vermilion quarterback and receivers to get any type of timing going downfield.
And I think, you talk about a running game like this, right? A running game can have just as much rhythm as a passing game. There's been no rhythm whatsoever in that running game going all the way back to that first quarter, right? And I think if you look at those two picks, that very first drive, Vermilion was marching the ball all the way down the field. They had gotten inside the red zone. The Jules Martin came away with that big pick. They got inside EC territory again, turned it over on downs. Then there was the field goal. Shortly thereafter, they had great field position. They had the ball at the 50-yard line because of a great kickoff return, but then they turned it over again. This time, Corey Armelin on the pick. So anytime it's looked like they've had something going offensively, Elyria Catholic's defense is right there to answer the bell.
Like you said, partner, coming into the second quarter, Elyria Catholic has to play with a lot of confidence. Home opener, playing with house money, and they're letting it all hang out.
Couple of big sacks on that last drive, too. It was both Kylan Connors and Trent Merrill, both tearing down Drake Hooks in the Vermilion backfield. Two huge sacks on a drive where, Will, you could tell they were outside their comfort zone.
Normally, traditionally, their bread and butter is running the ball, ground and pound with their playmakers in the backfield. But seems like EC said, hey, you know what, we're going to give you a taste of your own medicine, ram it down your throats. And, they're making it very, very difficult for Vermilion now. I'm expecting to see Vermilion try to get back to that controlling the clock, ground and pound, getting back to their DNA.
I'd be a little surprised if they didn't. At least try and get back there in the early stages of that third quarter. Now, keep in mind, EC won the coin toss, and then they deferred. So they will get the second half kickoff to get going here in just a few moments. Let's take a little dive into the numbers here. Brought to you by Al Januzzi CPA. It's all about the numbers. That's Al Januzzi CPA. Not a ton of numbers to speak of. We talked about the big momentum shifters in this one. Some of them turnovers, some of them penalties. The picks coming from both Jules Martin and Corey Armelin of Elyria Catholic. The only score in this game came on the leg of Ben Essenmacher, a 22-yard field goal, so just a couple yards over an extra point, and he came into this game a perfect 9 for 9 on extra point attempts. He was able to punch that through with no issues whatsoever. That made it 3-0. That's where we stand. Because, again, there have been a lot of mistakes on both sides. And, I don't want to make this sound like it's just been one offensive mishap after another. Both defenses have been pretty strong here, too.
Yes, absolutely. Bend, don't break. backs pinned against the wall in their own red zones, and they come off smelling like roses. Big plays on EC's defense. Like I said, their secondary has really stood up. Conventionally, they were expecting for Vermilion to really be passing the ball as much as they've done, but, they've answered the bell. So big shout-outs to EC's secondary tonight.
One of our favorite halftime segments is our Rate the Dog, brought to you by Brian Victor of Howard Hanna. Brian says enjoy the game. We do that every Friday night. We also enjoy the dog as well. Here at Dan Reeser Stadium, man, they always treat us well. We always love coming up here. My dog is finished, man. It was outstanding stuff as always. I give this week's about a 4.1. Pretty solid dog. It was pretty good. Last week we went just below 4. We went like 4 or 5, 4, 6 for the one 3 weeks back at Black River because they put some garlic butter on it. Athletic director Rob Clerico could not tell us what their secret ingredient was. I think he was sworn to secrecy. This is pretty solid. This is right out there. I give this about a 4.1. So we rated a scale of 5. Okay. Where do you give yours?
You know what? I'll give it a 4.5. I definitely liked it. The bun was nice and toasted. It came up hot and ready. So, went down nice and smooth. Hey, give it a 4.5.
Great stuff. Big thanks to Sam Sovacool for getting down and grabbing those dogs and getting them back up here at record time, man. I'm telling you, Westlake's finest. If he is not in the Hall of Fame for his time in that track and field program, then something is wrong with the Hall of Fame committee. He needs to be in there, so put those demons on notice. All right, we'll take one more time out here at our Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance halftime show. When we come back, we'll take a look at some other scores across the area as well. Our score here, Elyria Catholic 3 and Vermilion nothing. It's our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. It's on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. putting the finishing touches on our halftime show, brought to you by Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance. If you have insurance questions, call Jeff Allison of Health Markets Insurance in Amherst. Second half will get underway here in just a few moments. Let's work in some scores before we get to the kickoff here in the second half. Firelands leading Brookside 13-0. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. Black River trailing Clearview 7-0 at the half. That's our WOBO. Wellington trailing Columbia 21-0. That's our other Lorain County Sports Network game of the week on YouTube. You can check that out with Dave Rivera and company on the call. Wellington looking for their third win of the year. Columbia trying to go to 4-0. No score update between Oberlin and Keystone. We will be at Oberlin next week when they take on Firelands. In the SWC, Avon all over North Ridgeville on our WDLW game of the week, 28-7. Avon on top. Berea Mid Park and Amherst deadlocked at 7. That game in the second quarter. That's a big one tonight, too, because they are opening up that, well, kind of new facility, right? New turf. They've got a new press box, new facility. Looks really awesome. Those pictures on social media look fantastic. So a very exciting night in Amherst. Avon Lake on top of Midview, 21-7. Avon Lake looking for win number 1 this season. Olmsted Falls 21, Elyria 0. And of course, Lorain taking on Euclid tonight. Euclid leads Lorain 20-7. Make sure that you dial up both WDLW and WOBL. When we're done tonight, John Guzik and company will take you through the final scores, and they'll dive a little bit deeper as well and talk to some of the game-winning coaches from tonight's action, and they'll also talk to some of the players who were part of the action as well. They've got a Facebook live stream going for it, so make sure you tune in when this game is over. Well, let's revisit some of those first-half keys and see how they apply here in the second half. I mean, I feel like the script from that first half should just be thrown out.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. It just seems like the tables have turned, really. You know, both teams have done polar opposites. Vermilion's coming out passing more. They didn't really abandon the run. They tried to actually set up the passing game. And I'm really, really surprised with EC's running ability with Mr. Castillo and company. They've come out and they've just rammed it down Vermilion's throats, actually.
EC will get the second half kickoff. And you also wonder, too, how much do you think they'll change? If you're having so much success running the ball, I don't imagine EC would change it up too much. And we did see Ben Essenmacher throwing the ball around on the sideline. For what it's worth, we do not see Robbie DeRay, who is the starting quarterback, but he went down with an injury in the second quarter. And for Vermilion, I mean, you'd like to think that they'll try and get that ground game going again, but Elyria Catholic did such a nice job of thwarting that, especially in the second quarter.
Yeah, the battle of the trenches. Seems like Elyria Catholic defense has really been getting a lot of push up front and a lot of penetration.
Micah Smith's kickoff will bounce at the 3-yard line. It goes to the 1. It's retrieved there by Jules Martin. He'll take it to the near sideline, makes a cut back inside. He's able to get to 30, makes 2 men miss before he's finally corralled at the 36-yard line. That's a great return by Jules Martin. He picked up about 35 yards on it.
Nice run. It started off looking a little unusual, but ended up being a nice positive gain, setting up their offense in pretty decent field position.
So the ball will be spotted at the 36-yard line. And here comes this Elyria Catholic offense. Again, it looks a bit different than we thought it would. With Ben Essenmacher taking the snaps, he'll have Castillo off his left side and a 3-receiver look. He'll hand it off to Castillo. Room to run up the middle, past the 40 and drag down at the 41-yard line. A 5-yard scamper on first down, and that's something we said a lot in the first half.
Looks like they're going right back to what's not broken. Right back to the running game with Mr. Zion Castillo.
Picked up yardage in big chunks in that first half. Ben Essenmacher has the same personnel on the field. Castillo gets the carry again. He bounces outside, breaks a tackle, gets to the sideline, and he's shoved out of bounds at the 45 of Vermilion. And it was Daniel Roy who shoved him out of bounds, but not before. He picks up a fresh set of downs.
I know Coach Ferris of Elyria Catholic is fired up, seeing his offensive line get great push up front. opening up a big hole for Mr. Castillo to run through. First down.
Continuing to run the ball right at Vermilion. A lot of guys on both teams do play both ways. Essenmacher, delayed handoff to Castillo. Takes it left side, spun off of one defender, and he fought forward to about the 44, so he picks up 2. Had to go a long ways to pick up those 2 yards.
Yeah. Definitely still impressed with the offensive line of EC. The Panthers are really, really controlling the line of scrimmage.
Essenmacher in control for his 3rd drive at the helm of the CC offense. Grabs a low snap, hands it off to Castillo again. Trying the middle one more time, and he'll work his way up to about the 41. Looking at 3rd down and about 4 here.
Castillo being patient as he runs behind that massive offensive line of Elyria Catholic.
And another lineman going down for Elyria Catholic. They're already pretty thin there up front. That's Kanan Regis, a 6'1", 255-pound senior, who actually fell to the turf a few seconds after that play was whistled dead. So the training staff will go out there and tend to him and check him out. But look, as good as this running game has been, well, I mean, that's a major concern for Elyria Catholic. Earlier tonight, they had one of their linemen, Dylan Bevere, go down. He's since gotten back up. He re-entered the game. He's out there now. And Regis is walking off the field under his own power, but they really can't afford to lose many more bodies up front.
Yeah, very thin up front, but very effective so far in this game. I'm very, very surprised and very pleased, honestly, to see the trenches being controlled by EC's offensive line.
We've got a tough one coming up here. It'll be 3rd down and a long 4 for the Panthers. Again, they haven't had to put the ball in the air much tonight because the ground game has been so efficient. 4 receiver look for Essenmacher. Castillo off his left tip. He'll give to Castillo again. Castillo is hit and dropped at the 30 or at about the 39-yard line. Castillo didn't have a whole lot of room to work with there, and they'll actually mark him down at the 40 for just a pickup of 1. So now it's 4th and 3.
Vermilion's defense, a front 7, staying in their gaps and getting a little penetration, shooting the gaps of Elyria Catholic's offensive line, getting penetration to stop Mr. Castillo.
Offense stays on the field. 4th down and 4. There was a little bit of movement on the left side of that Vermilion defensive line, but not enough to warrant a flag. Now we do have one on the far side. And the official on the far sideline is going to say that EC moved early.
As we were speaking about, partner, still a lot of laundry on the ground here. Penalties are killing these drives on both sides.
And that totally changes the equation here as a big shift in personnel. Elyria Catholic is going to have to punt this away. That's a big-time buzzkill for an offense that had been moving the ball pretty well. High snap. It's pulled down by Connor Latte. Gets this in the air. And that ball's going to bounce inside the 15-yard line. Still rolling inside the 5. Joey Schill able to knock it back to about the 3-yard line. Got his paws on that just before he had gone across the goal line, and he saves that one to keep it at the 3. Remember last time down there?
Yeah.
He had just gone across. It was whistled for the touchback. It's a great play by Joey Schill.
Great hustle by Joey. Great execution by Elyria Catholic special teams to pin Vermilion deep into their first offensive drive of the second half.
So they'll have the ball at their own 3-yard line. Long way to go for this Sailor offense. They had to put the ball in the air a lot on their last drive. Certainly not something you think they'd be too comfortable doing, given the way their offenses run the ball. Inside handoff. This is taken right up the gut to about the 10-yard line. They pick up 7 yards, a big chunk on first down.
Great run in between the A gaps of Vermilion. like how they come out, not abandoning the run, going back to their DNA, ground and pound.
And that time they had Coons lined up as the fullback. A quick hitter to him, and he was able to find that gap you mentioned right away, plunging forward for 7 yards.
Way to give the ball to your playmakers.
Drake Cook's back in the shotgun now. They'll hand it off again to Coons. Coons looked like he was stopped initially, and the pile goes backwards. They might give him the 11-yard line. Picked up just one, and a 3rd down and 3 scenario coming up.
Elyria Catholic's defense stopping Coons on that run. I'm very impressed with Elyria Catholic's front 7. They've actually got a lot of pressure on Cooks, and really they've shut the door on a lot of these drives, on a lot of these big plays here for against Vermilion's offensive line.
And that Vermilion offensive line, certainly not huge, but they were very effective in their first 3 games. They've been tested here tonight. They'll give to Coons again. Coons runs it up the middle. He's got just enough yardage to move the sticks. Reaches out and gets to the 15-yard line. And a fresh set of downs for the Sailors.
Sailors continue their ground and pound offensive attack, getting it to Mr. Coons. Keep the chains moving.
Well, this is their kind of drive, at least so far. They've been able to put the ball in the hands of Coons and just charge down the field. Drake Cooks will grab the snap. He'll hand it off again. And there's just nowhere for the ball carrier to go. Stood up right at the 16-yard line. Coons again, and that time Elyria Catholic loaded up the box. They knew it was coming, and they stopped it dead in its tracks.
Elyria Catholic is playing with a lot of confidence here in the second half. I want to say throughout the duration of this game so far. Stopping the run, trying to make Vermilion one-dimensional right now.
There really isn't a whole lot of tempo, not a whole lot of pace to this Vermilion offense. They've slowed things down here, and again, they've had a little success on this drive, but they're looking at 2nd and 10 at the 15-yard line. They'll give to Coons again, trying to run it right side. He gets popped at the 17-yard line and only gets a couple.
Trying to go back to Mr. Coons again. Vermilion is trying to stay with the run. We're here on 3rd and 8. Trying to see if they want to take one shot downfield.
They try to take a few of those. They got a couple of penalties out of those, but again, not a ton of success through the air.
Let's see if they go back to their Academy Award-winning receiver here.
They've tried that double handoff before. It doesn't look like that's in the equation here. They'll do it, snap to Hooks. He throws this away left side, incomplete. And he was being chased from the other side of the field, and he was trying to get that to Chase Jackson, but Jackson had no chance at making that catch. That was thrown way out to his right, out of bounds, and that sets up 4th down.
Elyria Catholic's defense is putting a lot of pressure on Vermilion. They're getting a lot of pressure up front, and they're just knocking off their timing.
Yeah, when he took that snap, he immediately rolled out. Sometimes it'll buy you some time. That actually took time away from him. High punt takes a big Vermilion bounce. That'll go inside EC territory, and it'll be down at about the 41-yard line. So not a bad punt by Drake Cooks, but when you're pinned as deep inside your own territory as Vermilion was, you figured you weren't going to flip the field too much, so it's good field position for EC again.
EC offense is starting a decent field position. Want to see if they're going to go back to their running game. Hey, it's not broke. Don't fix it. Keep running it.
On their last drive, they were able to run 6 plays before they were forced to punt. Flipping the field, though, because, again, a nice punt and a nice play by Joey Schill on the end of it to down that ball at the 3-yard line, put Vermilion in a very uncomfortable spot. Ben Essenmacher leading the charge again for the EC offense. Organizing the pieces. He's got Castillo with him in the backfield. And they'll give it to Castillo again. tries to bounce this play to the outside, but he gets tackled in the backfield. Evan Coons gets to him at the 38-yard line. That'll be a loss of 3.
Evan Coons makes that run stretch out. Great execution on defense by the Sailors of Vermilion to stop that run. Stopping the momentum also.
Nose of the ball resting at the 39, so that makes it a loss of 2, setting up 2nd down and 12. It's really one of the only negative plays I can think of in the EC rushing attack tonight. We've got whistles and we have a timeout called by Elyria Catholic head coach Chase Ferris. We'll take this timeout as well. 5:15 left in the 3rd quarter. EC leads Vermilion 3-0 on the Lorain County Sports Network. Coming out of the Elyria Catholic timeout, it's 2nd down and 12 for the Panthers from their own 39-yard line. They have a 3-0 lead on Vermilion in a game where defenses reign supreme. There's certainly been some mistakes on both sides. Only a couple of turnovers, though. Usually in a game like this, you expect a lot more. EC has both turnovers, interceptions from Jules Martin and Corey Armelin. Essenmacher will hand it off to Castillo again. Looked like he was bottled up, but he breaks free. He spins off a defender at the 50-yard line. He's still going, and he's tackled at the 48 of Vermilion. What a terrific effort, once again, by Zion Castillo.
Great effort, great run, strong, showing a lot of physicality there by Mr. Castillo. Moving the change for the Elyria Catholic Panthers.
13-yard gain on 1st down. And again, it looked like they had him bottled up after about a 3 or 4 yard gain, but he spun off a defender, motored his way up the field, and then he bounced off another one right around the 50-yard line. Essenmacher hands off to Castillo again, trying to turn the corner right side. He's able to get to the near sideline. Coons will tear him down just inside the 40, close to the 38.
Elyria Catholic is really showing a lot of physicality up front. Zion Castillo is really showing a lot of heart and physicality in his runs. Elyria Catholic is really controlling the trenches right now and the momentum of this game.
Castillo needs a quick breather. They bring Mikey Bates into the backfield now. Bates will get the carry. Plenty of room to run up the middle. He's past the 30. Off to the races, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. It's a 40-yard touchdown rush for Mikey Bates. And that will give the Panthers a 9-0 lead with 4:29 to play here in the 3rd.
Chipping away, Mikey Bates sprinting to the end zone here as we look at it on the instant replay. But like we said, partner, going back, chipping away, staying within the game plan here. Coach Chase Ferris is awfully proud of his offensive line for controlling the trenches. Mikey Bates finishing the play. But it all started with Mr. Castillo.
Essenmacher looked like he was ready for the extra point, and then we had an official blow a whistle. No flags on the field. Castillo's actually coming off. Jules Martin is coming on for Elyria Catholic. Not sure, maybe there was an equipment issue. But now Essenmacher looks like he's ready to go for the extra point to try and make it 10-0 Panthers. Colmeyer will put the hold down. Extra point on the way, and it is good. Elyria Catholic 10, Vermilion nothing with 4.5 to play here in the 3rd on the Lorain County Sports Network. Moments ago, Mikey Bates, a 40-yard touchdown rush, making it 10-0 in favor of Elyria Catholic. The Vermilion Sailor offense has been out of sorts of late. They've been put in some third and long and very uncomfortable situations, and now they're in a position that they never want to be. In a team that runs the ball a lot, you never want to be down by a couple of scores, but that's where Vermilion is at. And we've got whistles. I think somebody crossed that line before the ball was kicked off, so Elyria Catholic offsides will have to kick this again. But you got to dig deep in a situation like this. I mean, I think Coach DeFucci's probably having that discussion. You know, do you try and open it up with the passing game? Do you try and get back to what got you here?
I kind of think they should not abandon what their DNA is, and that's running. We seen in the first half, especially the second quarter, where they tried to go to the passing game and was unsuccessful. And you know, the timing was off. You know, Vermilion is built to actually have the lead, control the clock, you know, and just impose their will. They really haven't, especially up front. I'm really impressed with Elyria Catholic's defensive front seven and their back secondary also making plays.
Tried to squib that kick down the right hash and escaped into it out of bounds. So illegal procedure will be the call, and it'll be decent field position for Vermilion to start this drive. And I think the low-hanging fruit, right, is to go back and give the ball to Evan Coons, because that's the guy that has really controlled your offense for the most part. But Elyria Catholic has been able to sniff that out. They really haven't given him a ton of room to run.
Going back to what Coach Chase Ferris is very known for, and that's controlling the trenches. Seen him out here earlier in pregame, you know, pumping up his offensive line and defensive line, and, you know, the guys up front, they don't get enough credit, but tonight, you know, they're really showing and imposing their will.
So they are going to force Elyria Catholic to kick this off again. Micah Smith, we got a glimpse of that return game of his a little earlier, and I think Vermilion wants to give him a chance to get out in open space here. It's 10-0, but all it takes is one big play to start the fire on that other sideline.
One play away. Game is still close. It may not look like it on the scoreboard, but momentum-wise, like you said, can shift pretty quickly.
Essenmacher getting ready to kick it away for a third straight time, hoping that this one's the charm. High kick, end over end. This will be retrieved at about the 30-yard line. Taken to the near side at about the 40. Nice cut made back inside past the 35, or should say the 45-yard line. Ball popped loose at the very end of the play. Elyria Catholic says they've got it, waiting for an official word. And we do have confirmation. EC has the ball. Oh, that would have been a real nice kickoff return, too, for Vermilion. They would have been set up inside EC territory, but the ball shot out at about the 44-yard line. And that is the third turnover forced by the Panthers tonight.
Partner, we talked about turnovers all night. And we also talked about the momentum, and it seems like EC has the momentum right now and control of this game.
Ball spotted at the 44 of Elyria Catholic. That's a huge play at this point in the game for a lot of different reasons. So instead of having it inside EC territory and a chance to cut into the deficit, they fumble it. EC gets it back. Zion Castillo will take the snap, trying to stretch the play to the far side. Can't quite turn the corner. He is held up at about the 45. Still picked up a yard on that. But again, it felt like he had to go a long ways to get that 1 yard.
Yeah, a lot of real estate. Great open field tackle by Vermilion. Way to keep it at the goal line here.
A 1 yard pickup and a good job by that Vermilion defense to stretch that play out and just didn't let him turn the corner. He's done that a couple of times, and when he's done that, he's picked up big chunks of yards. Essenmacher will hand it off to Castillo again. This time he's got room to run up the middle. He's dragged down along the left hash at the 44-yard line, and they'll keep that chain gang busy on the other side of the field. They'll march forward 10 yards again.
Zion Castillo with a big run. He's been huge all night. Offensive line has been controlling the trenches. They're just continuously running it. Big play after big play.
And those 10, 11-yard pickups, those have been pretty consistent. They really start to wear on you here in the third quarter. Early movement on the other side of the field. That was Corey Armelin, who tried to get a head start. That'll cost DC 5.
Well, partner, when we see receivers jumping off sides, it always goes back to saying that, hey, they were going to get the ball. That play was meant for him.
He was excited. Hey, you know what? Who could blame him? Because the receivers haven't seen a ton of action in this game. Again, the polar opposite of what we expected.
Absolutely.
First down at 15 here for EC. Ball at the 50-yard line. 3 minutes left and counting. Castillo on the carry again. He lost the ball, looked like at the end of the play, but he gets up to about the 46-yard line. So picked up maybe 4 on that. Not quite as much as they lost on the penalty, setting up 2nd and 11.
That last play, I've seen a lot of white jerseys really loading up the box, trying to stop and just basically sell out on the run here. I wanted to see if the offensive coordinator and Coach Ferris would take a shot downfield.
And with Essenmacher, he's only thrown the ball a couple of times tonight. The running game's been so good, they really haven't had to rely on his arm to get him down the field. Castillo carries it again. Initially stood up, and he gets pounded at the 45-yard line. Flag came in on the near sideline at the very end of the play. The indication is holding against EC. So he ended up picking up maybe a yard on that. It would have been 3rd down and 10, but now this penalty is going to march them inside their own territory.
Penalties again, partner. They're just killing these drives on both sides. Elyria Catholic has had a lot of confidence this tonight, and they're also carrying the momentum right now with the turnovers. But the penalties are just killing their drives.
2nd down and very long. They'll load up again. The give goes to Castillo, and this time he is stuck at the 44. No gain on the play. And there again, as you mentioned, loading up the box, expecting a run, and they just kind of suffocated it right at the point of attack.
Coach Ferris and his coaching staff are just continuously selling out with the run, controlling the clock right now.
Coming up on the 7th play of this drive, $1:40 left in the 3rd quarter. EC leading 10-0. Play action fake. Essenmacher looking for Terry down the near sideline. Somehow comes down with it near the 30-yard line. What a catch in traffic by Jazir Terry. That was great coverage by Brock Myers, but an even better catch by Jazir Terry.
Huge play by Jazir Terry, the sophomore. 6'3", using that big frame to go up and high point the ball. Keeping the drive alive.
They had to pick up about 20 yards on 2nd down and long. They'll give it to Castillo again. Room to run up the middle. Spins off one defender, gets inside the 25, and he stood up at the 24.
Castillo with a nice hard run. He's been actually fantastic tonight.
Well, you had mentioned it. They continue to load up the box. Probably only a matter of time before they take a shot down the field. A very well thrown ball by Essenmacher.
Well placed. Great high point, getting it to your playmakers once again. Elyria Catholic staying within their scheme.
Inside of a minute to play in the 3rd quarter, they'll give to Castillo. Castillo takes it straight forward, spins inside the 20-yard line, and he goes down at about the 18. They move the sticks again. They've been doing a lot of that here in the 3rd quarter.
Castillo has been the bell cow tonight. He's ran really hard, extremely hard.
I'd like to think he's probably the early candidate for Zabo Apparel Company Player of the Game. Mikey Bates, though, is the only player on either side with a trip to pay dirt tonight. Did that in a 40-yard dash on Elyria Catholic's last drive to make it 10-0. That's where we sit, and that's going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Elyria Catholic leading Vermilion 10-0 here at Dan Reeser Stadium at Elyria Catholic. This is our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. It's on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. The 10th play of this current EC drive will begin the fourth quarter. Elyria Catholic, to the surprise of many, leading Vermilion 10-0 in this one. Glad to have you with us on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. Andy Bullbarch and Will Hicks on the call for you. Edwin Vereen is our director. Sam Sovacle working the camera tonight. And you get the impression the way this thing is going, Will, Elyria Catholic going for the kill on this drive.
They're trying to put the nail in the coffin right here on this one here. They've been controlling it with the dual threats of Castillo and Mikey Bates, thunder and lightning.
Castillo got tripped up in the backfield, still fell forward to get maybe a yard out of that. They'll mark him down near the 17-yard line. Impressive he was even able to get that much.
Yeah, nice shoestring tackle there.
And I think that's the other impressive thing about Castillo. You know, it's taken more than just one guy to bring him down.
He is very impressive tonight, running very hard, a lot of heart, a lot of effort.
And that's not something you expect out of a guy at 5'6", 175. They'll give it to him again. Stretches the play right side, and he's taken down near the far sideline. They might give him the 15 on that. Picks up just a couple. Third down coming up for the Panthers.
Coach Chase Ferris is sticking with the game plan, continuously running, using a big offensive line to control the line of scrimmage, and they have really impressed me tonight.
Yeah, there's some really big bodies up there. We talked about the sophomore earlier, Dylan Bevere, 6'4", 340. He's not alone. There are some other really big bodies up front. Amari Lynn, 6'3", 250. Center Ryan Flanagan, 6 feet, 275. On the carry again, they'll give it to Castillo. Gets outside. He's able to work his way inside the 5, and he's tackled at the 4.
Nice piece of running by Mr. Zion Castillo, running off the right side, off the right tackle. This offensive line, man, I mean, they are hitting people up front. They are the aggressors tonight.
Well, the right tackle is Kanan Regis. He's a two-way player for EC, but he's done a great job of setting the edge out there. Castillo will get the carry again. This time he's got nowhere to go. He has stood up at the 5-yard line. We haven't said this much tonight, but it looked like the first guy that got to him brought him down.
Still a great effort by Mr. Castillo. Vermilion's defensive front looks very fatigued from here, partner. I mean, they're just getting kind of manhandled by EC's front 5.
And they've certainly won that battle tonight. I don't think there's any disputing that. They have the ball at the 5-yard line. They call that a loss of 1. It's second down and goal. And again, they keep looking back at the offensive coaching staff, and they're trying to take some time off the clock here as well. Timeout has been called by EC. And the Panthers do have one left in their back pocket, up 10-0 in this one with 9:29 to go. I think it goes without saying that this drive could effectively end the game if they put this into the end zone. And, you know, you mentioned something I want to get back to, too. I mean, yeah, they've been getting pushed back all game, and they're starting to wear down a little bit. You know, for Vermilion, Division IV, a lot of times you got kids playing both ways. But, look, it makes a difference. When you're on your heels and you're constantly getting pushed back, you know, take the wear and tear out of the equation. When you're playing on your heels like that, it starts to work on you in the fourth quarter especially.
Absolutely. Fatigue starts to set in. I'm very impressed by Coach Fierce sticking with the game plan, him being a former offensive lineman himself, allowing the big boys to sit up here and have fun up front.
They've had some fun for sure. And I think as an offensive lineman, too, they would tell you, look, sometimes when you're blocking in the passing game, it's a bit more challenging. You can't get as aggressive. You block in that running game, it's a little bit more fun for them. So they've had their fair share of fun tonight. Coming out of that timeout, second and goal at the 5-yard line. Castillo off the left side of Essenmacher. And Essenmacher will give it to him again. Castillo works his way right side, spins his way into the end zone. Touchdown, Panthers. A 5-yard touchdown rush for Zion Castillo. And that'll make it 16-0 EC with 9:23 to play.
Zion Castillo starts the drive, finishes the drive with a hard piece of running. 5-yard run for a nice EC touchdown. Big shout out to the big fellas up front. We got to give them some love, boy.
Absolutely. Well, they've provided plenty of room for him to run tonight. A nice second and third effort there as he got just outside the right hash. He's made some guys miss tonight. He's run through some guys tonight. He's done it all. Essenmacher's extra point. Well, hang on a second here. They blow this thing dead. And let's see. The officials will sort this out. And that whistle was blown almost the second they sent that snap back.
Trying to see what the call was here.
Well, this makes a difference. I mean, this is a pretty big extra point because if he doesn't get it, it's a 2-possession game still. Elyria Catholic came off the field. And now the officials are explaining something to Chase Ferris on the near sideline. So the extra point was good, but they also have a personal foul going against Vermilion. And based on the body language we see here, it looks like they're going to enforce that on the kickoff, and they will.
Okay.
So the extra point's good, making it 17-0. And Elyria Catholic can essentially tee this thing up right around midfield after they march off the yardage here and kick this thing into the end zone. And that means Vermilion, one way or the other, they're going to have a long ways to go.
Yeah. Still a lot of time left in this fourth quarter here, boy, but the way these drives for Vermilion's offense have been stalled due to penalties and turnovers, it's a tough sled.
3 big turnovers in this game, 1 on special teams, a fumble recovered after a really good kickoff return, and then interceptions for Jules Martin and Corey Armelin. Ben Essenmacher will tee it up at the Vermilion 45. Now a 3-possession game. This is kicked into the air. This will be retrieved at about the 2-yard line. Micah Smith, he gets undercut at the 15-yard line. Jules Martin with the big stick. And now Vermilion has a long ways to go on this drive.
DC is fired up after that play there, boy.
And it goes back to the conversation we had talked about. You know, there's the X factor in this, right? You talk about a 3-0 team taking on an 0-3 team. What you see on paper, not always what you get. And again, there's something to be said for that X factor. Playing at home for the first time, the energy of the home crowd, they haven't had that the first few weeks. Trey Cooks immediately rolls out, looking down the field. He throws. That pass had too much mustard on it. That was a little high, intended for Brock Myers. And we've got a flag back around the 11-yard line.
Quarterback Brock Meyer took a shot there.
We have an injured Panther down. And that was Kylan Connors. He's back up to his feet, trying to work his way off the field. Well, both teams had kind of retreated to the sideline. We did have a flag on the play. Again, that came right around the area where Connors was down. The officials are going to talk this over again. When that was thrown pretty deep in the backfield, too.
Yes.
Looks like there is a flag down on the 10-yard line.
Usually it doesn't take this long to figure out what the penalty is. Usually they've got it down by now. This has taken a good minute to try and figure out what this is all about.
The referee's trying to discuss it, trying to get the right call.
It happened a lot in the area where you normally see a roughing the passer.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're not sure. Usually if that's the call, they would have made the call by now. So I wonder if maybe there's something else in here that we missed. It's a personal foul against Vermilion or against EC.
Looks like a targeting.
So it is a targeting. All right, maybe that's what they were discussing, whether it warranted a targeting call. So that's going to put the ball all the way up at the 30-yard line.
Once again, partner, these penalties, there seems to be the Achilles heel for the night on both sides.
Huge factor in this game. Will that provide enough life for this Vermilion offense? Well, they've needed a spark. Just haven't been able to find it throughout the night. Such an incredible ground game, but it has been halted really for most of the night. They had a little something going in that running game in the first quarter, but they've not been able to rediscover it. Back to pass again. Hooks, he's in some trouble trying to escape, but he gets sacked at the 28-yard line. He'll lose 2 on that.
Great penetration by EC's front 4. Way to stay disciplined and keep Brock contained inside the pocket. There was no one downfield to throw it to. The no-fly zone of EC's secondary is really showing up tonight.
Hooks will roll out to the right. Now he's in trouble again. Connors will sack him back at the 21-yard line. Another sack for Kylan Connors. When they are bringing some serious heat off the edge.
Elyria Catholic is definitely continuously bringing the pressure, riding this momentum of the home opener tonight, playing with a lot of passion tonight.
Next week, EC will open up conference play when they take on Padua. They go to Padua. Hooks dropping back, setting up a screen. Gets it to Coons, but he's corralled. Breaks a tackle. Gets to the sideline. He's able to work his way up to about the 29. An incredible effort by Coons to get up to the 29-yard line. Now, having said that, they still have a long ways to go here on 4th down, but a really impressive effort.
Coons getting back close to the original line of scrimmage here. Elyria Catholic is just pinning their ears back. Their front 4 is getting after it. It's man-to-man on the front line. And Elyria Catholic is actually showing up.
So Vermilion going to punt this away. Low kick. This will bounce to the 40-yard line, and it'll be retrieved by Mikey Bates. Bates is tackled right around the 46. It was James Bangle who came away with the tackle on that to slow down Mikey Bates, and slowing down Mikey Bates has been a tough thing to do tonight. Another flag comes in.
This flag comes in late.
That was a good 5 seconds after that play ended. I wonder if something was said, and that came from our head referee, John Rock. So the end result was a pretty nice punt return for Mikey Bates. A good pop at the end of the play by James Bangle to tear him down, but tough to tell who this is going against again because, like you said, it was thrown so late.
These penalties and turnovers have really been the defining factor for the Vermilion Sailors tonight.
The flags have also really disrupted the flow of this game as well. As the score would indicate, the second half, it's been kind of one-sided.
Right.
But it's also taken a while to sift through these penalties, and now they're going to wave it off.
You know what? Referees need love also. They're trying to get in the game. So
we mentioned him during the pregame show, right?
Uh-huh.
We already talked about him on the Stringer, and Gazer referee crew, so they got their love from us anyways. Ball is spotted at the EC 48-yard line. EC offense has been on the field a ton here in the second half.
Just controlling the clock, staying within themselves, playing within their scheme.
Essenmacher will keep it, and he's corralled back at the 43-yard line.
Looked like it was a broken play there.
I think you're right. Almost as if he was expecting Castillo to take that handoff. He didn't, then he was left scrambling. And this fourth quarter clock just continues to tick. 7 minutes and 20 seconds left. We mentioned EC will go to Padua next week. Vermilion has Sandusky waiting in the wings in week 5. Essenmacher grabs the shotgun snap, drops back, throws this one down the near side, looking for Armelin, and the pass is intercepted at the 24-yard line. Micah Smith comes away with the big pick for the Sailors. Well, that's just what the doctor ordered. for a defense that had been on the field a ton, and they get their first turnover of the game.
Partner, I'm shocked right now. I thought that EC was going to stay with the run game, but they chose to pass in that situation. Big play.
I could see the shock on your face. I was feeling the same thing, man. Yeah, I couldn't believe they put it in the air there.
I mean, they've been playing a terrific, terrific game plan.
So Vermilion gets a little shot in the arm here. They take over, down 17-0 with 7 minutes left.
Let's see if they can capitalize on this one.
Coons goes in motion. He's in the flat left side. They'll throw it across the middle. The pass goes incomplete. They were looking for Micah Smith, but, well, they had 2 or 3 defenders right around him.
Elyria Catholic secondary was looking to make a big play of their own here.
They've made a couple of big ones already. Really, they've kind of suffocated that Vermilion passing attack, which we've seen a lot more of than we thought we would tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Playing from behind makes you go off script a little bit. Vermilion is actually playing a little unconventional themselves.
And you can tell this isn't necessarily a style that they're comfortable with. Came in completing 50% of their passes on the season. They'll come out in the wild card here. Hooks sends a man in motion. He'll take the snap. He'll run it himself. Has room up the middle. He got tripped at about the 26. He fell forward to about the 30.
Nice positive yards for the Vermilion offense. And as you can see, the momentum is kind of, dragging a little bit for the Vermilion offense with 6 minutes and some change left in the fourth.
You're exactly right. There really isn't much of a pace to this offense. You would expect there to be a little more urgency.
Sometimes these turnovers can be deflating to you,
Send a man in motion. And they'll give this right up the middle. They try to quick hitter with the back, and there's just nowhere to go. Try to go to Coons again, and he just had nowhere to go. I'm sorry, Kaiser. Isaac Kaiser got the carry that time, but on a quick hitter, a lot of times you can catch the defense by surprise. Elyria Catholic was expecting that.
Yeah, they've been expecting that all night. That seems to be, Vermilion's identity is to run the ball, misdirection, try to set up their play action, but they've been unsuccessful tonight in that game plan.
4th down and 5 at their own 29-yard line. Inside of 5.5 minutes, play action fake. Hooks looking down the field, throws, and the pass is dropped right around the 34-yard line. Well, and that just kind of looked rushed from the get-go. For a moment there, looked like they had something open down the field. But as has been the story this entire second half, I mean, Elyria Catholic's front four is just forcing them to get rid of the ball a lot faster than they like.
Absolutely. Disrupting the timing up front with the QB and the receivers. The no-fly zone and the back end of Elyria Catholic has been really, they deserve the turnover chain tonight.
5:20 left. And I think what you saw on that last drive tells you a lot about how things have gone down here tonight, even after a big interception. They just don't net much of anything. I think they netted about 4 yards on that drive offensively. They turn it over on downs. Zion Castillo will take it right side. He's able to get up to about the 26, so he picks up a couple yards on first down.
Zion Castillo continues to put his fingerprints on this game here from start to finish. Offensive line has been really having his back, setting up great blocks up front, stopping the Vermilion defense from even getting any penetration.
Continuing to milk the clock as they should. Inside of 5 minutes now. What a second half for Elyria Catholic.
Coach Ferris and his coaching staff have put together a great game plan tonight.
Essenmacher looking left side, he'll tuck it and run. Takes it down the field. He is tackled right around the 22-yard line. And that was Aiden Kaiser who tackled him. There's 2 flags in the play, though. One at the 21, one back at the 26, and they were thrown at the exact same time.
I think this is going against EC and Zion Castillo for a legal push in the back. Once again, partner, these penalties continuously seem to stop drives and just take momentum away from these offenses.
I mean, the end result was about a 4-yard pickup. But you had mentioned the penalty will march them back down to the 32, and another positive play wiped out. They'll have some things to clean up before they take on Padua next week. And Padua was a team they were able to hang with for a little while before they ultimately fell about halfway through last season.
They can come away with this victory here going into that game next week. Not trying to put the carriage before the horse here, but, this is great momentum here.
Writing's definitely on the wall the way they played. Oh, a nice job by Castillo to spin away from the pile again, and he's able to pick up extra yardage. They'll spot him down at the 26-yard line.
Mr. Castillo is definitely making his case for player of the game.
That spin move is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
He's been able to wiggle his way out of one tackle after another. A timeout has been called here with 3:54 to play. Again, want to remind you, coming up when this one is over, we'll wrap things up here on site, but we want to invite all of you to tune in to John Guzik and Paul Williams and company. Back at the Radio Ranch, you can tune your radio dial to WOBL and WDLW. Also check out the Facebook live stream as well for the post-game show. They will do more than just read off the scores. They'll update you on what's going on across the area, talk to the game-winning coaches. They'll work in some player interviews as well. They'll get going right around 10 o'clock tonight. I was telling the story last week, was listening to Guzik on my ride back from Sullivan. I got stuck behind a horse and buggy going north on 303. So it's great to have the velvety baritones of John Guzik and Paul Williams help me get through that.
Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, big time. Coming out of that timeout, just inside of 4 minutes to play. It's 3rd down and 7 now for Elyria Catholic at the Vermilion 26-yard line. Touchdown rushes tonight for both Mikey Bates and Zion Castillo. Keep in mind, EC came into this without the services of Donovan Shumpert. We thought that would loom large. It really hasn't mattered much.
Yeah.
Castillo, stutter steps, right side, waiting for a hole to open, and he's dragged down to the 27.
Zion Castillo has been very, very patient, picking out his run holes. And like I said, big shout outs to the EC offensive line. They look totally different from the game that I seen, this past week at Midview. They came to play tonight.
Well, we had asked you that question before, too. What are some of the major differences you noticed between this week and last? And I don't think anybody expected that they would run the ball as often as they have. And they've been able to find a great deal of success in doing it. But I think it's hard to ignore. The emotion you see in a game like this, playing at home for the first time. I know we've detailed that, but I don't think we can overstate the importance of that, right?
Right.
They've certainly fed off of that. You get a couple of big turnovers. Mm-hmm. You can halt the momentum of that pretty quickly if you do something stupid. They haven't done that all night long. Anytime they've come away with a big pick, they've been able to make something out of it.
Played smart, clean football, stayed within their scheme. The coaching staff of Elyria Catholic put up a great game plan, and these young men tonight, they've executed it.
It's a team hungry for a win. It fell to Bishop Hartley, took a long trip down there, lost 55-42, made the trek over to Mayfield, fell 28-13, and then, of course, lost last week against Midview 41-20. Coming out of that Vermilion timeout, 3:50 left in the fourth quarter. It'll be 4th down and 7. Essenmacher sets up for a pass. Facing some pressure from his right side, rolling out to the left, dumps it across the middle. Oh. The pass is intercepted by Aiden Kaiser, and then he dropped it. Then he fell back on it at the 15-yard line.
Looking at Coach Fierce down here talking to Ben telling them, hey, if it's not there, tuck it and run.
Aiden Kaiser with the big interception, second pick of this fourth quarter. But again, to the credit of this Elyria Catholic defense, anytime it looks like there's a chance to open that door for Vermilion to get back in the game, they slam it shut.
Most definitely. They definitely do. Playing a phenomenal game today.
And we weren't quite sure, how often we'd be discussing this front four. I mean, they've got a lot of really good pass rushers up there, some guys who have been able to make their way into the backfield. You don't know how that's going to factor in to a game like this when you're going up against a team that loves to run the ball the way that Vermilion does. But they very quickly got them into unfamiliar territory, and they got them into scenarios where they could just pin their ears back and just kind of let loose, and they've done that for most of this fourth quarter.
And to be honest, that's what you want if you're Elyria Catholic's front four. You want to be able to put the offense of Vermilion in tough situations, so when it becomes third down, sometimes fourth down, you can pin your ears back, like you said, and just go hunting.
Be interesting to see how much of this they can carry into next week, where, again, I think a lot of people might consider them to be underdogs against Padua. But I think, there's going to be some extra juice there, too, because it's a conference game. And not that it's a long trip over to Padua. You're just going over to the Parma area, right? So it's not too far.
Right.
But they're traveling again, and they'll make up for it. As a matter of fact, after the game against Padua next week, I think they've got 3 straight home games, and they play 4 of their last 5 games here at home.
In these past 3 losses, I know Elyria Catholic, as we can see, they've cleaned up a lot of things, and they've actually played with a lot of confidence tonight.
Hooks his pass sails out of bounds on the far side. Kind of threw that into double coverage, but at this point in the game, there aren't many options for you.
Right, you got to try something.
And you mentioned that no-fly zone for Elyria Catholic, and they have just smothered this Vermilion passing game.
Yes. Shout out to this secondary and also the front 7 of Elyria Catholic. They've actually bottled up this Vermilion running attack.
And they got them to go away from that pretty quickly. Dre Cooks will grab the snap. They try the double handoff again. There's room for Coons to run up the middle. He gets past the 25-yard line. He collides with 2 defenders before going to the turf at the 31 for a first down. And that's a number they've called about 3 or 4 times tonight. And for the most part, that's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that double handoff is really, the misdirection is really effective. They used it in the beginning of the game and kind of went away from it for a little bit, but every now and again when they bring it back out, it seems to be effective. Big chunks of yards.
3:10 left in the fourth quarter. Hooks grabs the shotgun snap below one, rolling up. He's in some trouble, throws to the near side. The pass is knocked away, incomplete. He was looking for Brock Myers, and Jules Martin said,
There he goes again, number 21, Jules Martin, looking for a second interception tonight.
Well, he almost jumped that one. He was so close. And the instincts, right, the reaction, that's been there all night.
They're playing with a lot of confidence, lots of confidence.
Second down and long for Vermilion. There's a lot of tired bodies out there, no doubt about it. They do the double handoff again, and this time Elyria Catholic is not full. They will tear Coons down for a 1-yard loss.
Great play by the defense of EC. Sniffed that out. Had it for a tackle for a loss.
And it's easy to kind of get caught in between, right? You're following the ball, you're shifting one direction, and all of a sudden, boom, the ball goes the other way. So you don't maintain your gap assignment there,
yes,
right? You can get thrown off, and you can kind of get caught with your pants down. That's happened a couple times, but not that time.
Well, it shows their discipline, staying within those gaps.
Pressure being applied. Hook steps up, throws down the near side, looking for Brock Myers. The pass goes out of bounds. And there again, there were 3 different Panthers in the area. And it gets to a point where you almost kind of feel like they're force-feeding Brock Myers.
Yeah.
Brock Meyer trying to win that one-on-one, trying to use his size in the sideline. Hooks tried to put it there to give his receiver a chance, but once again, EC's no-fly zone. These kids are playing with a lot of swagger and a lot of confidence tonight.
4th and 11. Another scenario here where you know that front four is licking their chops.
These are the situations you want.
Trey Cooks back to pass. Throws right side, but he had too much on that. It's incomplete. He was looking for Aiden Kaiser. He was open at the 40. They had first down yardage. But that pass was just off the mark, and that'll turn the ball over on downs back to EC.
A little too tall for Mr. Kaiser. Cooks has been off his targets tonight. Haven't been able to get a real rhythm with his receivers. Goes back to no-fly zone with Elyria Catholic in that front seven. Also applying pressure.
And with 2:09 left here, Vermilion has one more timeout to work with. I would be shocked if they decided to use it. Down 17-0, and you imagine just a couple of running plays. That should pretty much expire the clock here. EC on their way to their first win of the season. And on the other side, Vermilion, 2 minutes away from their first loss. Ben Essenmacher hands it off to Castillo. Dances his way past the 30, and he's tackled at the 28.
Zion Castillo is really making his case tonight for player of the game. Had a great game tonight. Very effective, setting the tone for this this Elyria Catholic running game tonight behind that big offensive line.
And even more important, you know, when you have to go down a road you weren't expecting to go down, with Robbie DeRay exiting in the second quarter with an injury. Ben Essenmacher's been taking the snaps ever since.
Ben Essenmacher's played a pretty good game tonight, outside the one turnover that he's had.
He's managed it pretty well for the most part. Castillo gets the carry again, right side, and he's cut down along the right hash at the 27. He picks up just a couple. And by the time they take this next snap, we will be just inside of a minute to go here in the fourth quarter.
One of the things I can say that I'm impressed about this overall game is just the next man up mentality. You know, you have your starting quarterback go down. Shumpert, another one of your big playmakers, not playing tonight. So everybody's just basically coming in and you know, filling roles right now.
Well, they just made the announcement. Shumpert, their second string quarterback. So Essenmacher is their third string guy. They'll give to Castillo again. Turns the corner right side. He's escorted out of bounds on the far sideline inside the 20-yard line. And that'll be enough to move the sticks. 26 seconds left. Because he went out of bounds on the far sideline, I think they'll have to run one more play. And that should take us to the end of this one. But that's even more impressive. You think about the way this went down. You know, using your third string quarterback and coming away with a 17-0 win. They're in victory formation.
Next man up mentality. Great win.
EC will take a snap, take a knee, and that will take the final 25 seconds off the clock. Listen to this crowd here at Dan Reeser Stadium. They are excited here in the home opener. EC came in as pretty big underdogs, and they come away with a 17-0 win. They shocked the Vermilion Sailors. We had a pretty good ball game here tonight. And there were some turnovers, there were some penalties, and that kind of redirected things just a little bit, but it was one of those games where coming in, you know, I want to say you could throw the records out the window, but you knew there was something different about this one. With as excited as this crowd was coming in, you just had a feeling that it was going to be a little bit different than a lot of the experts thought.
Great environment tonight. EC's crowd came out. They played their part, gave them the energy they needed. Next man mentality. Great job. both sides of the ball by Elyria Catholic.
We will step aside and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap this one up for you on the postgame show. Again, your final score tonight, Elyria Catholic 17, Vermilion nothing on our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. It's on YouTube on the Lorain County Sports Network. (17-0) our final count in this one. Elyria Catholic a winner over the Vermilion Sailors. EC goes to 1-3, and Vermilion falls to 3-1. Andy Bolbarge joined alongside Will Hicks to call this one for you and wrap it up on the post-game show. What a game here tonight. What a performance by Elyria Catholic. The defense shutting out Vermilion. This Sailor offense came in averaging just over 330-some yards per game on the ground, 10 yards per pop. They had found the end zone 14 times on the ground, but they were quickly halted in this game. They had a couple of decent drives. Those ended in turnovers. They had one where they turned it over on downs in the first quarter. But, Will, they just never got on track.
Never got on track, never got on rhythm. Vermilion definitely struggled from the beginning of that first turnover in the first quarter. But shout out to Elyria Catholic's defense, offense, the big guys up front especially. I was very impressed by the offensive line, the defensive front seven, and the no-fly zone secondary of Elyria Catholic. They played a great performance, had a great performance. Pitched the shutout tonight.
Yeah, and I think the combination, right, secondary just never really opened anything up. I mean, Patrick Moore, Mikey Bates, we saw Jules Martin out there as well. They had so many guys contribute to make sure that there was never a chance for Drake Hooks to find his guys. He was constantly searching for Brock Myers, but just was never able to find him or get in rhythm with him. And that running game also never got in rhythm. And that defensive front seven, you alluded to them throughout the night. Joey Schill, Gavin Smith, the linebackers, that front four, Colin Connors, Amari Lind, Kanan Regis, Trent Merrill. They also sub in guys like Weston Williams and Dominic Worthy. They all had a pretty big impact on this one, suffocating that Vermilion running game.
Big time. It all starts up front in the trenches. The front four of Elyria Catholic versus the offensive line of Vermilion, and Elyria Catholic actually dominated that fight up front. So it really made Elyria Catholic have more confidence, playing in their home opener. Then also Vermilion with no rhythm, no juice tonight. They're coming in with a huge amount of confidence, being 3-0 and having a great running game with 10 yards a pop. But shout out to Elyria Catholic's defense, front seven, and actually sitting up here taking the challenge.
Yeah, they took that challenge and then some. They took it to the next level, and they're hoping that they can capitalize on some of this momentum and take it into next week. Our player of the game is brought to you by Zabo Apparel Company. Be game day ready all year long with Zabo Apparel Company. And for you and I, it was a unanimous decision, Zion Castillo. He was one of two EC Panthers to find the end zone tonight. He did it on a 5-yard touchdown rush. that effectively pounded the final nail into the coffin. That made it 17-0 with just inside of 9.5 minutes to play. It capped a long drive that you just kind of got the impression took the wind out of the sails of Vermilion, because once they scored that touchdown, you just got the feeling up here there was no turning back.
Absolutely. Zion Castillo actually put his fingerprint on this game. Mighty Mount Zion Castillo tonight for the game, player of the game tonight. He definitely had a great game, hard running, showed a lot of heart, a lot of effort, tough yards also, making people miss and just dishing out contact, finishing plays off.
And we didn't really think it would come down to this. We came in thinking that if EC was going to win, they were going to spread the ball all throughout the field. They were going to throw the ball a ton. They didn't have to throw it very often tonight. And, to add more to what Zion Castillo did tonight, Robbie DeRay exited the game in the second quarter with an injury, so they were playing this game already without Donovan Shumpert, who was their second-string quarterback. So they put Ben Essenmacher in, their third-string quarterback. So you kind of knew at that point that was going to put a lot of weight on the shoulders of the running game. It didn't matter. Zion Castillo took it, ran with it, and then some. So he earns our Player of the Game award, and that takes us to our drive of the game. And I think we'll go right back to that drive where he scored. It was the drive where it just kind of sent the message that this thing was effectively over. Our drive of the game brought to you by Valley Chevrolet. Keep on driving with Valley Chevrolet in Wellington. That drive where Castillo punched it in from 5 yards out, finished a 14-play, 56-yard drive. It also chewed the final 4.5 minutes off of that third quarter clock, and it took just about 3 minutes off of that fourth quarter clock as well. It really denied Vermilion any chance to get back into rhythm, and as they continued to pick up one first down after another, they were pushing that Vermilion defense back on its heels. There was just no coming back after that.
Absolutely. The offensive line and the hard running of Mr. Castillo definitely set the tone, controlled the clock, was able to sit up here and allow the defense of EC to rest and be fresh for when it was time for them to come out on the field and just go pin their ears back and go hunting.
They went hunting a lot tonight because there were also drives we could point out defensively too where if there was a chance where you thought maybe Vermilion might sneak back into this one, it didn't matter. They tried to put the ball in the air, and while the secondary we've given a lot of credit to, there were big sacks that thwarted any kind of momentum they could have established. Trent Merrill and Kylan Connors came through with a couple of really big sets. Toward the end of that first half, they had huge sacks coming in a scenario where it looked like it might be a long shot for Vermilion to score, but at the time it was a 3-0 game.
Right.
So there was a chance that one big play really could have altered the scope of this one, but those two sacks made sure that didn't happen.
As you said earlier in the game, they shut the door when Vermilion was trying to knock and get some momentum to try to continue their drive. Elyria Catholic answered the bell and they shut the door. But also penalties were big in this game today on both sides, especially on Vermilion's side, killing their drives and the turnovers also.
The fumble on the kickoff was another big one here also. After Mikey Bates' 40-yard touchdown rush, making it 10-0 with 4.5 minutes to play in the third quarter, there was a penalty that forced Elyria Catholic to kick off deep inside their own territory, and that gave Vermilion a pretty good chance to get great field position. And then after that, it certainly looked like they were going to be on the right side of the field. Everything was going great. They had a great kickoff return. Then they fumbled it at the 45. Elyria Catholic picks it up, forcing their third turnover of the game. And in the second half, I mean, Vermilion actually won their turnover battle, but
Right.
still lose it 17-0.
Those big turnovers, partner, as we mentioned again, that fumble right there was big. It just gave the momentum right back to EC, which already had momentum coming into the second half. But, it just left the momentum there for Elyria Catholic, and they took it all the way and pitched a shutout. Great game.
Yeah, phenomenal job by this Elyria Catholic defense as they were able to hold a Vermilion Sailor running game in check and then some. 17-0, our final score here tonight. We mentioned next week EC will be on the road to take on Padua. Vermilion will take on Sandusky next week. Next week, we will be at Oberlin, where the Phoenix, who have already run off a couple of wins this season, to the surprise of many, will take on the Firelands Falcons heading into their game against Brookside tonight. Firelands was searching for their first win. That's where we will be next week. which is already week 5 in this high school football season. The fall is flying, as it always does. Will, any final thoughts from you before we say thanks and say goodnight?
I had a great night tonight. We were actually, all 4 of us, we were actually hoping for a great game tonight, but we definitely got it. A lot of surprises, a lot of actual great things tonight.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Pleasure working with you, my friend.
Absolutely.
We discovered we're both from the same side of town before we came on the air here tonight. We're both East Siders out here on the west side calling high school football games, but great job out of you. Wonderful job. Had a lot of fun doing this, Will.
Appreciate it.
Well, we want to say thanks to the entire crew here at Dan Reeser Stadium at Elyria Catholic High School. They always treat us extraordinarily well. We always appreciate their help and hospitality. We look forward to coming back here again in just a few weeks. A big thanks to both head coaches, Bill DeFucci of Vermilion and Chase Ferris of Elyria Catholic, for getting us all the information that we needed heading into this broadcast here tonight. We'd like to say thanks to all of you for tuning into this one. And a huge thanks goes out to the entire broadcast crew. Sam Sovacool working the cameras, El Capitan, the director of this ship, Edwin Vereen, doing a wonderful job of getting us on and keeping us on, making sure that you can catch every last bit of this one. And my thanks to Will Hicks, my tag team partner on this one as well, for all of his hard work throughout the night. That'll do it. One final time, your final score, Elyria Catholic 17, Vermilion nothing. For Sam Sovacool, Edwin Vereen, and Will Hicks, this is Andy Bolbarch saying thanks again for tuning in to our Legacy Home Finance Game of the Week. You will hear from us again next Friday at 6:30, but until then, have a wonderful weekend.